vet, stone vet, stone vet, stone vet, stone vet. The stone vet, the stone vet, the stone vet, the stone vet, the stone vet. I hit the ground running when I'm invading your country. And still with honor and discipline, throw my guns like onyx. Dressed in camo with ammo for every situation I handle. They got us marching and stepping by my platoon, they get trouble.
This is John Kyle. When I'm not taking shirtless selfies on Instagram and drinking White Claw while having hot sex with my wife Karen and making truck videos, I like to listen to the shows on VRS, Veteran Radio Syndicate, your home for the best quality veteran entertainment.
The recognized symbol of excellence in online entertainment.
Welcome, friends and family, operators, and notorious POGs to another episode of The Bar right here on the Veteran Radio Syndicate, the recognized symbol of excellence for online entertainment for veterans and patriots alike. I'm your host, John Kermine, a.k.a. Minnie, doing the show with talent on loan from Wish.com. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. 2311 was my MOS. I yo-yace, card-carrying member of the E4 Mafia, allegedly. I'm also OG of the Veteran Radio Syndicate. So tonight we have a very special guest from the podcast Semper Sometimes. He's the host, Dwayne Bennett, aka Benny. He'll be joining us here shortly, probably in the next 20 minutes or so. We're gonna do some memes, hopefully at some point during the night. I don't know if we're gonna squeeze it in. We got about 500 submissions, so we'll see if we can do it when we can get up to it. There's a Stone Vet. What's going on, brother? What's going on with you, man? Good show the other day. Let me go over and take care of a little business, and part of that is talking about the Stone Vet, so I'll go through our schedule real quick. Mondays, you got at 2100 Eastern Standard Time, you got Ron Ripley and the Napoleons. Ron's a United States Air Force veteran, and he's got a great show on Monday nights. They have a lot of fun. It's just a cure for all the Mondays. Don't say that to anybody else, but I know I just did. But, you know, Ron's a great cure for that. He's also a stand-up comedian out in San Diego. So if you're ever in La Jolla area, go and check him out at the Comedy Store. Catch one of his sets. Trust me, you'll like it. Then on Tuesdays, we've got the Jester's Court with CJ Thomas at 2000 Eastern Standard Time. He's our FNG, if you will, and it's not Fresh New Guy, but I'll let you figure out the rest. Wednesdays, If You Drink with Heather Clark, Yoga Master. Oh, namaste. She's on in a new time at 2000 Eastern Standard Time. Then Thursdays, we got the Stone Vet with Juan Garcia, aka Sergeant G, who's just checking in at 2000 Eastern Standard Time. He's a great show. He's been on the bar. I like his attitude. I like the way he does his show. I like also what he's pushing on there. which is alternative therapies to just the VA's, take these pills. It'll cure everything. No, fucking, it doesn't do anything except fucking keep you from going like this. It just brings you down here and just keeps you on a level, kind of zombified bullshit. So yeah, and he said, breaking the stigma. Yep, absolutely. I'll tell you what, I fucked up tonight. I didn't take my medicine, and and I had a hell of a time writing up the show. It normally takes me very, 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 very quick. I can write it out very quick, but I hit a block and I just could not get past it. And then immediately following the Stone Vet, Yes, I Am the Veteran with Brandy. Friday is a TTR, the Texas Revolution with Mr. Todd Snelling. And, of course, you got the bar tonight. Tomorrow, Sports Church, 1900 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about the Army-Navy game. And immediately following that, usually, is the VRS Hero Show with our HMFIC, Mr. George Pardo. So let's say hi to Julie Little Spud Romaine. What's going on? Jordan Portis says, shots full. Oh, man. Already, bro? Like, really? Like, fuck. All right, fine. Raise your glasses, you fuckers. I'm drinking Ouzo tonight, by the way. Just saying. Oh, this is going to be a bad morning. I'm going to wake up with diabetes. He said... Lacey Semper Fi. Hey, Semper Fi, sweetie. This is breaking the stigma. Fuck alternative therapy. Natural therapy. I like that. Gene, you're late. I just did it. I just did it for you, brother. All right. So let's bring on my co-host and then get ready to bring on our very special guest. Not, window looking special, but special. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran, fellow cheesehead, co-host of Sports Church, which again you can catch every Sunday at 1900 Eastern Standard Time. And some say he likes big butts, and he cannot lie. Welcome to the bar, Terrell. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Got the football jersey on. I don't got a Navy jersey because I was in the Marines. But for the one game of the year, we will identify with him because a lot of officers from the Marine Corps go to the Naval Academy too. So
yeah,
good win today.
True.
Happy
this
about
is true.
that.
It was a good game too, man. It really was. It didn't start out well for Navy.
No.
Jesus, like a 56-yard quarterback draw for a touchdown. Like, holy shit, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, that's how the Army-Navy games always are. They're always low scoring. I mean, the over-under for the game was 34, and they still managed to hit the under. So, and they kept lowering it because like every year it's like a bookie's nightmare when they have this game because I was listening to radio about that. Like 70% of the betting public take the under on the Army-Navy game, so the bookies aren't making their money. They ain't taking their 10% cut that they want to take.
Gene says, come on, you guys are on the same payroll. Cindy says, hey, Miss Your Faces, how you doing? How are you doing, Miss? I got COVID. What were you doing? How'd you get it? Of course I know. You're a healthcare worker. Of course you're going to get it. Stone Vest says, that's the most boring game in all of college. What? I mean, it's not. They don't run pro-style offices usually, but today they kind of did. There was a lot.
They run those options. They run the option because
the triple option, or the veer, right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Well, and that's the thing with the military academies. They don't get the top prospects like all the schools. So
no. And the ones they do get that like get big time, they generally get. They
don't got quarterbacks that can air it out.
Yeah. He says always the option. Yep.
Things are going well here. Sammy's team won today. First home game since they changed their name to the Warbirds. So I played the Patriot by Topher and the Marine Rapper when they came out. So
this is cool. Pops, I'm guessing. He said, you haven't read your text messages. F1 is on ESPN Plus tomorrow at 0800. Yeah.
I saw that.
What makes you think I'm going to be up for that?
Right.
I mean, I could set an alarm and get up for it, but my wife's going to kick my ass at 11 o'clock when I go back to bed. She's like, you're not going back to bed. Oh,
That's
goes,
the thing.
I'm good.
We're gonna be up drinking here all night, so
Yeah.
Up early isn't gonna work out so great.
I'm good. Just getting really tired sometimes. Well, hey, keep with it. Keep kicking. Keep charging forward. And you gotta hang around, man. I mean, somebody's got to take care of Dean. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can't leave that dude alone. You know that, right? Stone says it's all backyard ball. Yeah. The only game where both teams might have men die for their country. Yep. Julie says, hi, Pops. Wife's checking in. Howdy. I don't hear a lot of stomping, so I guess the domestic terrorist is officially asleep, or hopefully at least. All right, let's bring on my next co-host, because one of them is fucking late as shit. But she's a Navy vet, a Michigan native. Boo. She's new to the bar, but we already love her. And some say she has an interesting nickname that may or may not rhyme or coincide with the Stiffmeister. Please welcome to the bar as she takes a bite of a sandwich, Miss Brittany. What's going on, chica? Oh, it's an ice cream bar. Is it an ice cream bar?
No. It's Wendy's. So Michigan, my neighborhood still doesn't have power, so I'm sitting in my car. So bear with me. This is dinner.
Jesus Christ!
It's way too cold up there to be eating ice cream. For fuck's sake.
I don't need that negativity in my life. Back out of that.
Hey, it's just as cold.
This is great though. This harkens back to the days of the origin of the bar, where Lunchbox was like eating chicken wings on air when we were doing radio. Like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, I'm eating chicken wings. Like, what the fuck? That's not the worst though. The precursor to the bar.
I've done that a few times.
The precursor to the bar, a guy literally took a piss during the show, and you could hear him. Like, he had a wireless mic, and he's throwing a whiz. And fucking Lunchbox is like, dude, are you taking a piss? He's like, yeah. Why? Can you hear it? He's like, fucking yeah, we can hear it. Your mic's with you, fucking idiot. Oh,
good thing it wasn't like diarrhea shits or anything.
Oh god, yeah, battleship.
Oh, that would have been epic.
Like yeah. Oh god. Good lord. So we're still waiting on the radio. And we're gonna bring on Dwayne here in just a minute. But Brittany, how you doing? What's new? What's happening? How's your Wendy's burger? Oh, I forgot to do this.
Brittany, his name's Doug, not Dwayne.
Did I say Doug? What the fuck did I say, Dwayne?
Why
am I always doing that? I always get the last name right and the first name wrong. What the fuck is that? Why did I say fucking Doug? Jesus, what an asshole.
God, nope, my week has been fine, minor personal stuff that I'm kind of pissed about, but
you want to talk about that? Ooh.
No, I don't.
No,
he's not even worth the breath. It's not worth the breath.
No, I don't blame you.
I just say, ladies, if you're out there struggling with the dating scene, just stay single, because these boys, men are they're shit. They're just shit. At this point, I might as well just be a hoe. I'll just go back to my hoe days.
Oh, you'll find it. You'll find it. My good friend Sarah, she was the same way. She's one of the funniest people. Well, you know Sarah, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's the funniest fucking chick in the whole fucking planet. I love talking.
But
she literally made me spit liquor out of my nose. Dan's in the front right seat. Monster's in the left seat. Sarah's driving. I'm in the back chugging fucking Fireball like it's going out of style. Dan's just like, oh, God, here goes Minnie. And she goes, somebody said something about the size of their dick. And Sarah goes, you know what, bro? Even 3 inches hurts at 90 miles an hour. I'm like, shot liquor out my nose. Monster punched me. Dan was like, why'd you shoot Fireball? I'm like, tell her to stop being so fucking funny, man. Richie's
other than that, week's been great, so I'm glad you guys had a good week as well.
It was okay. It had its moments, but overall it was pretty good. Therapy for my shoulders being an asshole. I mean, it's just fucking. I spent all day Friday with a fucking ice pack on my shoulder. It was brutal, but whatever. It's getting better. As long as I see progress, I don't really get too pissed at my physical therapist. Hey, Richie. She goes, oh my God, Dick Lives Matter. Hey, all right. Our last co-host finally in. It looks like he's sans Mohawk. But we'll bring him on here. Also a United States Marine Corps vet. There's a little bit of a theme going on here at the bar lately. He hails from parts unknown. He's a part-time hairstylist, musician, and some say He is the dream of all locksmiths because he continually locks himself out of just about everything in his life. Welcome to the bar, Radio. What's going on, brother? Nice
All
T-shirt,
dicks
man.
Matter.
What's that?
All dicks matter.
Ah, there you go.
False. False.
Richie.
Fuck, here we go.
Richie, who this with you? Well, that's T. You know him. That's Radio. He's the United States Marine Corps
I'm the
veteran as
guy.
well. He's a dirty reservist. I don't know how you fucking do that shit. I could never be I could never ever be a reservist.
Like I said,
To
don't
go
get
into the
mad.
suck, out of the suck, into the suck, out of the suck. No, I'd just be like, no. I have 10 times the drinking problem that I am now if I was a reservist.
No,
like, Jesus.
We drank way more. Fuck, Julie, damn it.
You also got the Marine Corps thrown out of like a shit ton of fucking hotels from what I've heard, but
might have not, maybe will not confirm nor deny.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Just say it.
exactly.
Just say yes, you did. Yes, you fucked up and got everybody kicked out. Just say it.
Again, had to go streaking.
Stone Vet. He says there is no way. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Sergeant G? What are you talking about? There's no way. There's no way. What? No way. What?
I might have been arrested more than a few times on airline flights between schools because I was so like when I became a PMI, I went to Quantico, Virginia to Camp Upshur. So I was at Camp Upshur for 3 weeks, and we used to carry all our ammo in our day pack. Well, like an idiot, I put my day pack as my carry-on bag, and so I randomly get stopped by TSA, and they would always put that little thing in to test for like explosives and whatnot. And like clockwork, I'd get apprehended.
I get you now, somebody, because there's no aces being the reserves. I agree, man. There's no way I could have done it. I mean, like, there's parts of the Marine Corps that sucked for sure. We all know this, but
you're either 100% in the suck or you just don't go in at all.
You're a tourist, and I could never be a tourist. Like, I couldn't handle it. Like, there's a part of being able to deal with this shit because you know there's no way out. So you're stuck. So you kind of accept it. And it's just like, all right, well, this is what it is. You know, got to roll. And
there's parts, though, that are like, so like when we're deployed, because everybody has some sort of random civilian jobs. A lot of guys are cops, firefighters. But you also have like your plumbers, electricians. And they're like, shit, we have nothing here. Well, hey, John over there is a plumber. And Bob, he's an electrician. So let's make ourselves a shitter in a shower. Cool. And like shit would get done like that randomly.
Oh my God. All right. Well, get ready, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So our special guest tonight on the bar is the host of the extremely entertaining and informative podcast, Semper Sometimes, which you can find at all your podcast apps like Spotify, Apple, etc. He's been to the graveyard of empires. He's survived and excelled the B-billet of horrors known as recruiting duty. He's a dad, husband, and some say he's always fine, but sometimes Semper. Please welcome to the bar for the first time and hopefully not the last, Doug Bennett, a.k.a. Benny. What's going on, dude?
What's going on? Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful, holy shit, dude. You're rolling like a gangster. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, man. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just chilling. You know, just got done with seeing Santa Claus and having the kids. We went out, spent the day out at the mall and stuff. So we did that and then watched the Grinch and just did the family thing. So chilling.
Right on, right. How the kids doing Santa? Were they crying or whatnot?
So my son, he doesn't ever cry. And he's 3.5. He was completely fine. But my daughter, as soon as I moved away, she just went crazy. Like the pictures and everything are nuts. Yeah, she's just like this in the pictures. So yeah, and she's 1.5 years, so she was not about it. She was not about it at all.
Did you watch Monty Python: The Quest for Holy Grail last night?
So I watched it this morning.
Okay.
And I if I offend you, I apologize.
Oh no, here it comes.
Offend all the way, Marine.
All the way, man.
I couldn't stand it, bro. I didn't find it. I didn't find it the least bit funny.
Oh, come on, man. It's a
like
classic.
All right. I found it funny in the beginning with the subtitles.
Oh yeah,
like that was funny. Yeah. But like after that, like there were some funny parts, but I guess like because like there's that other movie I was trying to tell my wife about. There's another movie that everybody says is a classic. It's the one with Andre the Giant. And
Princess
Princess
Bride.
Bride.
Yeah, I personally hate that movie. I think
Princess Bride.
I'm not a fan. So like that, like I'm just not a fan of that kind of humor, I guess. But like I get why some people without humor would find it funny. But but nah, it was okay. I personally would never be like, hey, you gotta go watch it. But,
right. Yeah, to each his own, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of satire and slapstick. You know, I love things like Airplane. You know, I love Airplane. You know, tell the milkman no more cheese. I don't know. You know, like I mean, just ridiculous. All right. So before we get going, let's do the bar toast. So we had some really wicked shit go down last night and early this morning. All right. Unfortunately, the bodies are starting to pile up. They're saying 100 plus and then some.
Shit.
And my dad was right in the middle of the storm and was relatively untouched. So to those people who survived and to those who lost loved ones, to the men and women who paved the way for us, to the men and women who fought to the left and the right of us, to those crazy enough to follow in our footsteps, to those we lost in far off lands, to those we lost at home, to the demons they simply could not outrun, the bar salutes you. Prost.
Am I like the only non-drinker here?
Apparently,
a little bit.
Apparently, you gotta have a guy on a drinking show. I'm like permanent designated driver.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, Brittany's over there like waving her hand, like, "Hello, how about me?"
Richie says, "Does he like Cheech and Chong? Do you like Cheech and Chong, Benny?"
I've never seen it.
Okay.
I know who they are. I've just never seen it.
Smoke some Labrador?
I'm a huge movie fan, but there are some classics that I've never seen, and that's one of them. So it's something.
Gotcha.
I hate Tom Cruise. Sorry, I think Tom Cruise is one of my least favorite actors ever.
I agree with you on that one.
Okay, we'll go with that.
The only movie that I like Tom Cruise is there's two movies I like Tom Cruise in: Tropic Thunder, because I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, nobody did it first, right?
And Vanilla Sky.
Oh, that was
the
weird.
Only two movies that I like with Tom Cruise. So
I hated Vanilla Sky.
You liked Vanilla Sky? Oh my god! Ew.
Yeah.
All right.
I went on a date with a chick in high school to Vanilla Sky in the theater, and I like fell asleep during the movie.
You gonna get a handy?
And then she got all pissed at me for falling asleep during the movie.
It was a sleepy handy.
She
all
was
right, Benny.
So, and all of a sudden, Terrell's just out cold.
Yeah, it was like.
All right, Benny.
Really
so
sucks.
give me the who and the what. Who is Benny? Who's Doug Bennett? Who's Benny?
So Benny. So a lot of people don't know where Benny comes from. So Benny came from while I was on recruiting duty. One of my best friends that I was a recruiter with, Sergeant Morales, he just started calling me Benny and like shortened my last name.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of stuck. And then when I created the podcast, I didn't want to just go with my name. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go with Benny. And then I created Semper Sometimes with Benny. And then who am I? Somebody said, what kind of jarhead am I? I don't know. You know, I really
good answer.
I try to be motivated as much as I can. I always wanted to be a recruiter. That's how I became a recruiter. You know, it was a dream of mine, and you know, I'm just somebody who I want to be able to see the best in veterans and make sure that others see what I see in veterans. And that's why I started the podcast, because while I was on recruiting duty, I just heard so much negative things about recruiting duty. You know, you always hear, oh, our veterans are alcoholics, or, you know, suicide, or, you know, all these things. And then, but the reality of it is that, like, you have, you know, people like you, like these radio stations, you have these veteran-owned businesses, you have entrepreneurs, you have movie stars, you have rappers, you have all these people that nobody knows about.
Yeah, a record number of guys running for office this year. I think there's like 7 veterans running for
exactly.
Congress
and then you have
this year. Like, that's awesome.
And then you have the female, I don't know her name, but the African American woman who just won in Virginia.
Oh yeah,
yeah, Winston Sears. Yeah. So like, so I wanted
the face
to
of
be
white
able...
supremacy.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I like how TMR got her in a music video right away with that shots video. He had a South Park version of her coming out carrying her gun.
I love it, bro. It's so awesome. But yeah, no, that was why I started it. Was because I wanted to, be able to highlight veterans that were doing great things, but I also wanted to be able to talk about the demons that we face while we are in or while we're out. So talking about toxic leadership, talking about the good types of leadership versus the bad, and then what can we do to change it while we're still in, and what are people trying to do? So that's really what I did. And then, like I said, I'm a family man. I have 2 kids. I have a third on the way.
Ooh, congratulations. Do you know yet, boy or girl?
It's going to be a boy.
See, I didn't want to know, man. Like, it was my first. I didn't want to know. Like, how many more surprises am I going to get like this in my life, right?
Well, see, so my thing is that I didn't need to know because I knew. Because right now, I have called every single one of my kids. I said,
"Are you serious?"
Boy.
Confidence right there. I absolutely love it. Well,
bro, from my third, so my daughter, I had me and my wife when my son was coming. We had a name picked out and everything, and I was like, it's going to be a boy. We're going to name him Lucas.
Okay.
Then, as a kid, so here's a funny story about my daughter, right? So I grew up in Brooklyn, and I love everything Brooklyn. So like,
I'm sorry to interrupt. As soon as I turned on your podcast and I heard you do your intro, I'm like, this dude's from Brooklyn. Like, I know it because I had a friend, and I don't know if Pook's going to join us, but Pook served with me in the Marine Corps and for many years. And we had a very good friend. I still have the hat that he gave me for all the scrapping that we used to get into at the bars together. He's from Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And he has that accent. And Brent Fairhurst. And he's back out there now, if I remember correctly. He owns a bar out there, and he was just one of the toughest dudes. And I loved my New York guys. I loved my New York and Boston guys in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
They were my favorites. Outside of Texas, those were my favorite guys because if they didn't like you, they would tell you, and then they would tell you why they didn't like you. But they always had your back. Unfortunately, they started probably 90% of the fights that I was in. But I mean, I loved that they were just great Marines, man. They're great brothers. I mean, they were just hardcore to the bone. So I apologize for interrupting you.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
So I grew up wanting to name my kid Brooklyn. I said I would love to have a daughter named Brooklyn. And so when we found out it was a girl, and again, I said we're going to have a girl. And the whole time my wife's like, no. Boom, find out it's a girl. So I looked at my wife and I was like, so we're going to name her Brooklyn Addison, right? And my wife was like, Doug, I'm not doing that. I'm not naming my kid bro. Like, she was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I was like, no, come on. Like, we're going to do it. And I convinced my wife to do it. And no lie, the day my daughter was born and the woman came in with the paperwork for the birth certificate, my wife said, yeah, the name is Brooklyn Addison. As soon as the woman walked out of the room, I looked at my wife and I was like, wait, what? Joke, my thing that I wanted, like, as like, I never thought you would do is real. Nice. So like, I never thought it would happen, but it happened.
She's gonna lord. Has she lorded that over you though? Like, like, oh, baby, I need you to do this. No, I don't want to do this. And she just looks at you and goes, Brooklyn.
Because she ended up falling in love with the name.
Okay.
And then Addison, we agreed on because it was it's in remembrance of my grandfather because he lived in Addison County, Vermont.
Okay.
So that's for him. And then when we found out my wife was pregnant with my son that's on the way, as soon as she got pregnant, I was like, it's a boy. It's gonna be a boy. And everybody, my sister, my wife was literally like, no, it's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl. And I was like, no, it's a boy. And then all of a sudden, she started having the pregnancy cravings but she was having the pregnancy cravings from my daughter and my son.
Ooh.
So then she was so confused. So I was like, bro, it's a boy. Like,
What are the cravings? Because I always love hearing this.
So with my son, my wife craved jalapeno poppers and anything hot, which is crazy because my wife hates hot and spicy foods.
Okay.
But with my son, like all of a sudden she started eating jalapeno poppers from Sonic, and like buy like 5 or 10 of them.
What were
and
you
then or she was making them from scratch from home, and like making the jalapenos, putting the cream cheese, putting the stuffing, like doing it from home. So she was just doing that. And then with my daughter, she was extremely her cravings were apple, anything apple cider, apple pie, apple cobbler, apple anything. So like to the point where we were on our way home from Vermont one time, and there was a farm on the side of the road that said, fresh apples. She was like, "Let's go!" So we pulled over on the side of the road. She got like a bag of 30 apples, a peach. She got an apple cobbler. She got this. She got all this apple shit, and she was in the car just eating apple everything.
Nice.
Love it.
So
Get an apple
now, so now her cravings are mixed. So then I was like, "Oh, well, then we're having twins," and she was like, "No, don't put that on me. Don't do that." So, but not. So, and then we had the sonogram. We had the sonogram, and it's going to be a boy. So again, I was like, "Fucking told you so." So,
congratulations. All right, so
thank you.
What were your cravings?
Oh,
can I? This is an explicit podcast, right?
yeah.
All right. So a lot of people think I'm effing weird, and if my wife ever sees this, she'll be really pissed off that I said this on the air. But fuck it. I love breast milk. I think it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So the best part about getting my wife pregnant again is that I have a full unlimited source in the house.
Hey, there you go.
So, and I've had people ask, like, well, you can get it off the black market. Like, no, that's weird. That's weird. Like,
yeah, that's fucking weird.
Breast milk.
Like getting it from the source that's my wife, I'm good. We're good. But getting it from somebody else, I don't know where it came from. That's not okay. But
this
yeah,
is part of our bonding process.
Exactly.
Black market's fucking weird, bro.
Yeah. Like so you gotta think about it. Sometimes it doesn't start off right and it doesn't work. So I gotta get it,
All right, man.
Well, that went in a direction I didn't expect, but I love it.
Me either, but I love it. It's great.
Sometimes
so
is the breast milk. It just...
Why did you join the Marine Corps?
I feel like I'm missing out now because my wife had to go on blood pressure medications with both her pregnancies. She got the gestational diabetes and all that stuff with it. And then she had pulmonary hypertension and preeclampsia with both kids and almost died both times. So we could only have
stop.
Yeah, we could only have our 2 kids, and then it was like, we can't have kids no more because you almost died both times.
Julie, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Please share the show out wherever you can. Any groups you belong to, your personal page, share it to your story so people get the gist. Benny, why did you join the Marine Corps, man? He chuckled before he started his story. This is gonna be great.
So it's a great story. I actually just told the story last night to somebody. So I was the person that said I will never join the military. 2 days before I joined the Marine Corps, I told my brother to go fuck himself and that I would never join the military. And the backstory on that is I was 18 years old. I was a high school senior. And I was, smoking pot, drinking all the time. And I had just recently gotten in trouble at school. And my brother had just flown home from Iraq. It was his 3rd tour in Iraq.
Jesus.
And he's in the Army. And he came home. My dad picked him up from the airport. The first thing he did was stop at the liquor store, get a bottle of Jose Cuervo and a 30-pack of Coors Light. And he proceeded to get drunk. Got obliteratedly drunk. And a backstory on my brother: at the time, he had been in the Army 8 years, 4 divorces, on his 5th wife, and 5 different kids, one from each person, and deployments out the ass, never home, never with his family. So that was my only vision and only understanding of the military.
Right.
So he comes home, we're hanging outside, he gets drunk, and he's telling me about how I'm a piece of shit, how I'm failing, and how I need to join the military. And he's like, you need to join the military. And I'm like, bro, you're sitting here drunk as fuck telling me I'm a fuck up.
Right.
And I was just like, this is probably not okay, but okay. And he proceeds to tell me that, and he's like, listen, join any branch you want, I don't care. And I was just like, bro, I'm not joining the fucking military. So I go to bed, and I'm a believer in God, and so I prayed before I went to bed, and I was like, God, if you want me to join the military, have something in my life point me in that direction. I went to bed. Next day I went to school. It was a Friday. Woke up, went to school, came out of school, went home, and I stole the remainder of my brother's alcohol, his Jose Cuervos, and his beer, and I put it in my backpack, and I went to go chill with my boys. And I go into this grocery store. I'm standing by a vending machine, and this little black dude comes walking up, Sergeant Stanley Tice, and he's like, hey, what's going on? He's from Florida. He used to work in a chicken farm, and he was like, hey, what's going on there? He's like, you want Baby Marine? And I was like, no. I was like, no, not at all, bro. Like, get away from me. Like, literally get away from me. And he just kept talking to me. And I was like, listen, bro, like, I'm chilling with my boys. I'm trying to chill. Like, I'm not joining the Marine Corps. Like, have a good day. Like, see you later, bro. And I was like really respectful about it. I wasn't rude. And I was like, but I'm good, bro. And then he did what every recruiter does, or every good recruiter does. Hey, listen, man, I know you're not interested, but let me get your name and number, and I'll hit you back later. I was like, okay, bro, whatever. So I gave him my name and number, and I was like, hit me back later. So a couple of hours later, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. All of a sudden, I get a phone call, and I'm drunk. I'm drunk as fuck, chilling with my boys. And I get a phone call, and I guess it was him, and he set the appointment with me. So the next day, I'm sleeping. So tomorrow, the next day, Saturday morning, I'm at the house. I'm sleeping, and I wake up to my dad knocking on my door, and I'm like, "What's up? What's going on, Dad? What's up?" He's like, "Yeah, there's some Marine outside in a government vehicle," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Dad, what are you talking about?" So I go outside, and this dude's chilling outside my house. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, dude?" And I was like, "Why are you at my house?" He was like, "You don't remember last night's phone call?" So I pull my phone out, and I see all the text messages. I texted him my address. I told him 10 o'clock. I was like, so my dad looks at me, and my dad like, hey, you're not going to no-show this dude. You're not going to be disrespectful.
Right.
Like, I brought you up the right way. You're going to go talk to him. So I was like, all right. So I get in the car with the dude, chop it up with him. And I get to the office, and he just starts talking to me. He does the benefits act presentation. He's going through the book. He's talking to me about the Marine Corps. And I had picked that I wanted pride of belonging. I wanted leadership, and physical fitness was what I chose. And he just starts going in. Oh, and travel adventure. And he starts going, and then he asks, the first question he asked me, or one of the questions he asked me was, why did you tell me yesterday you would never join the military, but you're sitting in my office? And I was like, well, first of all, I was drunk last night. I don't even know how I'm here. And I was like, but I was like, but no, serious. But I was like, but no, seriously. I was like, my only understanding of the military is my uncle, who's an alcoholic since he joined the Army and still is now, and my brother, who's an alcoholic and doesn't know where his kids are at and knows nothing about his family. So I was like, so I don't want to join the military and become an alcoholic, bro. And I was like, and I don't want to have nothing to show for it. I was like, my brother's been in 8 years. He doesn't have houses. He doesn't have property. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. And I was like, I'm just not about it, man. And then all of a sudden, the sergeant's boss the gunnery sergeant, who actually I'm still friends with, and he's a mentor of mine now. His name's Gunnery Sergeant Patriakis. Now he's Master Gunny Patriakis. He just comes over. He's a Greek dude. He just comes over and he's like, "Hey, bro," and he pulls out
George
this
is
book.
gonna show up.
Yeah.
He pulls out this book, and he starts showing me all of these houses, and he's like, and he's in front of each house, and he's like, "This is a house I bought at this duty station. This is a house I bought at this duty station." He's like, "This is me and my family," and him and Sergeant Tice were like, "Bro, at the end of the day, your brother would have been an alcoholic, whether he was in the Marine Corps or in another branch or anywhere."
Mhm.
He was like, that would have happened regardless. The Army didn't make him an alcoholic. He made himself an alcoholic.
Right.
And I was like, that makes sense. And he was like, so if you want to be successful, these are the tools. And then, but I'll be honest, the real reason why I joined the Marine Corps was because of Master Gunny Patriakis. And I tell him that every time I see him, because after all the conversation, he did the question, "Hey man, do you want to be a Marine?" And I was just sitting there in the chair, like kind of chilling back. And I was like, "Yeah." And Master Gunny Patriakis stood up from his desk in the other side of the room and said, "What the fuck did you just say?" And I was like, I said, "Yes, sir." And he was like, "Yeah, that's what the fuck you said, bitch." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And then he was like, "So what was the?" He's like, "So what's gonna stop you from joining?" And he was like, "When was the last time you smoked weed?" And I told him, I was like, about a couple of days ago.
Like
and he
4
goes,
hours.
"Yeah." And he goes, "Well, you know what you got to do, right?" And I was like, "Well, what's that, sir?" He goes, "Stop sucking the Hulk's dick." And I was like, "What?" He goes, yeah. You don't like it now, right? He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "The Hulk, the big green weenie, you're sucking on his dick because weed's green." And I was like, "Yeah." And
those guys, that was a crazy RSS. That was a crazy RSS. They were just hard to pay, weren't they? Holy shit.
I hope the Stone Vet's still on. You're listening to.
I know. Right?
So I want to hear his commentary on that.
And what's funny is that like I said, I still talk to him, and he'll call me all the time. He'll be like, "Yo, Bennett." I'll be like, "Yes, Master Guns." He'll be like, "Yo, tell these guys about the story about how I recruited you." And then I'll be like, and then I'll just go through the whole entire story. So that's why I became a Marine, because I wanted something more than myself.
Sure.
I looked at my family, and I love my dad to death. But my dad, even now, my dad's 60 years old. He doesn't have money in a savings account. He has one house. It burnt down, and then when it burnt down, he had nowhere to go. He had no money in savings to fix the problem. So, I looked at all of those things, and I looked at like my parents grew up in apartments, from apartment to apartment. My brother didn't have anything. My brother didn't have anything to show for his service. Like my brother just retired from the Army after 20 years, and he got out as a staff sergeant.
Ooh.
And he has no houses, he has no property, and I'm like, I love the fact that you served your country honorably for 20 years, but what did it do for you? Like what, you know what I mean? And that's how I looked at it. So my whole time in the Marine Corps, I just constantly wanted to put money aside. I wanted to be able to invest into stuff. And then I wanted to be able to give back. And so I became a Marine because I knew there was so much more for me once I knew what it was.
Gotcha. I know Brittany's biting. She's just biting. She's just waiting to ask you a question. I can see it in her eyes. She's been losing her mind the whole time you're talking. Brittany, what do you want to ask? What do you want to ask Benny? Oh, you got something. I can see it in your eyes.
No, she's unmuted.
Necessarily didn't. I mean, one, why the breast milk? That's one of the biggest ones I've ever had.
Wait, is that a serious? Do you want me to answer that?
Like you couldn't pick up another habit like dipping your apples in peanut butter or like fucking mustard. You couldn't pick up any of those. It had to be breast milk.
What's wrong with the breast milk?
Because first of all,
the man likes his
so
breast
here's
milk.
my thing. I thought so. Here's what you know what I think is crazy about this whole breast milk situation is that you will gladly go eat or drink milk out of a cow, but you will not drink mother's milk, the one that God put in our body, that gave it to us. But you'll drink milk from an animal. And I'm the
not
one that's
necessarily
crazy.
me, but still.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
But no, but honestly, it's just because it is sweet. So instead of having to go get a creamer, I can just put that in my coffee and I'm good.
Jesus Christ. I love it.
I can't.
I'll have to admit.
I'm not a fan of the breast milk, but the man loves what he loves. I can't.
But I mean, I remember once we got through the first, I think it was the first month or so of bringing our son home, and you don't remember that month, right? I don't remember it. It was just, up every 2 hours. You're just, you're hating life. And we finally got back to doing the mommy daddy thing, and all of a sudden,
Julie says he's got a lactation fetish. So.
What is? I got a little taste of it, and I'm like, wow, that's sweet, and
then,
yep. But whatever, it is what it is.
I guess my other question would also be concerning, after your brother got out, did he try to seek any kind of help? Have you offered, to be as more of a support group for him?
Oh, yeah. So me and my brother, it's a weird situation. I've never been close to my brother my entire life because he's 10 years older than me. And when I was about 5 years old, he moved away and lived with my grandparents in Vermont. So we never really had a close relationship. But growing up, he was a hero to me. I remember 9/11 when he joined, I wrote a short story from 5th grade, and I've always been that person to try to reach out to him, but he's just always been a closed off person to not speak to anybody. And to the point where me and him didn't speak for about 4 years. We didn't speak for about 3 years. Then he said he wasn't going to come to me and my wife's wedding, showed up to me on my wife's wedding out of nowhere. And then after our wedding, we didn't speak for 4 or 5 years. And then just now when he got out of the Army, he called me the day he got out. And one of the reasons why me and my brother aren't as close as we could be is because he lost his best friend, Sergeant Brown, on my birthday. While he was in Iraq. So on I believe it was my 10th birthday, I remember I got a call from my brother, and he was and my brother always called me every year for my birthday. And I remember he called me and he was like, "Hey man, happy birthday." And I was like, "You don't sound good. I feel like there's something wrong." And he was like, "Well, I just lost my best friend. He just died in a night." So what had happened with Sergeant Brown was my brother still to this day holds himself responsible. He has survivor's guilt because essentially him and Sergeant Brown were in Iraq, and my brother's airborne infantry, and they were constantly doing these patrols, and my brother was always the gunner, was the driver of this vehicle. And Sergeant Brown would always ask my brother if they could switch. And eventually one day my brother was just like, "Fine, dude, leave me the fuck alone. We could switch vehicles." And Sergeant Brown hit an IED, and the vehicle blew up in flames, and they got him out, but he received burns to his body, and they got him to the hospital or to the on-base clinic, and he survived for 2 days, and then on the morning of my birthday he died. So that's just something that every year on my birthday, my brother's just he has to remember that. So me and my brother, we've never been close. We've never, I thought joining the military, it would bring us closer.
Sure.
But he still has this idea in his head that I joined the Marine Corps to one up him. I actually forgot to tell you guys part of the story after I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So after I signed all of the paperwork, remember it was a Saturday. So that day I signed everything. I was 18. I didn't need permission. I just signed everything. And it was my little brother's 10th birthday. And they were doing the party at Chuck E. Cheese. So I told the recruiter, I was like, hey, man, can you do me a favor and drop me off at the party? Because I got to be there. He was like, yeah, sure. So I get to the party and we get out of the car and I'm like, hey, man, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up to the side of the building in front of the window? Because they were all like literally looking out. I was like, and get a piece of paper and show them like a fake contract that I signed. And we'll look inside and point and laugh. So we get out of the car, we do it, and we point and laugh. And my brother, my sister-in-law, my stepmom, jaws drop. And I walk inside, and my brother's like, what the fuck did you just do? And I was like, I joined the Marine. I was like, you just told me 2 days ago I needed to join the military. Like, I took your advice. He goes, you don't join the fucking Marine Corps, bro. He goes, you're going to become a fucking
Well, you said
robot.
you didn't care which branch.
No, he's like, and that's what I said. He was like, nah, bro, you could have gone Army, Air Force, Navy. He's like, bro, you're going to be a fucking robot. He's like, you're going to be a robot, bro. And I was like, okay. So my brother.
That's funny that he says the robot comment, by the way, being the Army.
Honestly, I can't say anything because my ex-husband's from Astoria, New York, and he's an 82nd Airborne infantry as well, and he's just angry and robotic in his movements and emotions. I was like, I am so glad we didn't stick around too long, but I find it complete opposite. I find Army men to be more, and Marines are just giddy, happy people.
We're loonies. We're Looney Tunes for sure.
Yeah.
Benny, favorite story. I mean, if you want to, please finish the thought, and then I got another question.
No, I was done. I'm done.
Okay. Favorite story from Trashistan. Favorite story. I don't ask guys I don't want the dark stuff. I just want the funny stuff. The funniest shit that ever happened to you, and I call it Trashistan, but it's Afghanistan. But whatever. Afghanistan.
Yeah. All right. So it was. So I had a buddy of mine who was a Jewish guy in our. He was my driver. His name's Haim, and I was Yoni Haim. And
wow, that doesn't get much more Jewish than that, does it?
Yeah. And I was his aid driver, so I sat beside him in the vehicle the whole entire 7 months. So whenever we went on I'm motor T, so whenever we went on convoys, we were always me and him. And one of the number one things I remember was I actually have two really funny stories from Afghanistan.
Sure.
So the first one, actually I have three really good ones. I'm sorry, I keep remembering as they're going. So the first, and they were pretty short. So the first one, me and Yoni, we decided that our call sign for our truck would be matzo ball because he was Jewish and because I love matzo balls.
Who doesn't?
So our call sign was matzo ball. So we would, matzo ball come in or whatever. So I remember there was one day where I had to take a shit really bad, and we were on the convoy in the middle of, we were out there, and I had to take a dump really bad. So I took my flak jacket off, I threw it in the truck, and I hopped out, and I sat in between the two tires of the truck, and they were like huge tires, like they're called LVSRs. So they're like they'll be up to my shoulders when I'm standing. That's how big they are. So I'm sitting right in between, and your ass cheeks fit right in between, perfect. It's like people literally manufactured it for that. So I'm sitting in between, taking a dump.
God bless Wisconsin.
Taking a dump, and all of a sudden I hear right over my head, and Yoni is like, Bennett, we're getting shot at, and I'm like, no shit. So I pull my pants up. I don't have a chance to wipe. I jump in the truck. I slam the door shut, and I had to sit there for like the next 7 or 8 hours with just shit in my ass, and 100-degree day.
Welcome to the sun.
So I cleaned myself up, and then that's that story. The next story was, so I don't know if you guys see it or notice it, but it kind of makes me self-conscious. But people tell me that I look like Mr. Bean. I've been told this my entire life.
If you didn't have, if you the stash was
you
gone,
didn't have the mustache.
dead ringer.
Yeah.
Dead
so
ringer.
when I don't have the mustache, I really do. And I heard this all the time. And the first person who ever told me it was my Uncle Earl. And the funny thing was he didn't.
I didn't think this. I've been following you for a little bit, but I didn't think this. I was thinking Raleigh fingers because of the mustache, because you're starting to get it a little bit out there and getting that curl in there. But
so I was always called that forever. And I'm in the middle of Afghanistan, and we're sitting in a circle. It's me, a couple of friends, and our interpreter, and a couple of Afghanis, and we're watching a film. I believe it was Rambo, but it was dubbed in Afghani. And Rambo's sitting there like, "Yeah, dude," and he's really like, and I don't really have a good Afghani accent, but
was it in Pashtun or what was it in? Like,
yeah, so it
yeah,
was dubbed in
Pashtun.
Pashtun.
Oh God!
Yeah, like Durka Durka. Rambo's screaming Durka Durka. So we're watching this movie, and all of a sudden the Afghani starts talking to the Terp, and the Terp starts laughing, and I'm like, what? And the Terp was born in Afghan, but migrated to Maryland and lived in Maryland, and then became a civilian contractor interpreter for the Marine Corps, and that's how he was in Afghan with us. So I was talking to the Terp. I'm like, why is he laughing? And he looks at me and he goes, "You don't want to know." And I was like, "No, I do. Like, why is he laughing?" And then the Afghani dude looks over at me and he goes, actor. And I'm like, "What?" And he starts naming off actors that the interpreter. He's like, no. And then he goes, Mr. Bean. I'm like, so I'm like all the way across America, all the way to Afghan. I was like, are you kidding me?
You get the Mr. Bean shit.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So since then, I was like, all right, you know what? I guess so. So then another story. This is by far my favorite story. So when you're in Afghanistan, you can buy animals from the local kids.
Sure. Goats, fucking whatever.
Yeah, goats, chicken, whatever. So
don't buy an old goat though. They taste like shit.
So we all decided that we were gonna buy 2 chickens. So we bought 2 chickens. I took the one chicken, and I put it in a box, and I put him in my truck with me in matzo ball. And then my buddy Eddie, he put his strapped to the mine roller with a little string, and the whole convoy, this chicken was like rah! In front of the truck. Ours was inside our truck with us, and throughout the next however many hours, Yoni would be like, "Hey, bro, is he good?" And I'd kick it, and I'd be like, "Yeah," and he'd go rah! And I'd be like, "Dude, he's fine." So a couple of hours would go on and on and on, and I'd hit it, and he'd be like, "He's good." I'd be like, "Yeah," and he'd be like, "Rah." So finally, we get to the fob that we were going to. We get out of the truck, and we do our formation and everything, and then we're about to go to bed. And Yoni's like, "Hey, man, you should probably take the chicken out." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." So I go out, I take it, and it shakes, and all I hear is woof, woof. And I'm like, "Wait a minute." And I open it, and this chicken's just dead. Just like So I'm like, "Damn, bro." And he's like, "Dude, mind you, the heat in our truck didn't work. It was 150 some odd degree day. Why I thought this dude was gonna live, I have no idea." So I everything was stacked against me, and me and Yoni never thought about it. So these guys, though, their chicken, they called him Chesty, and like I said, the whole ride he just sat in the front of the mine roller because they were the first vehicle.
Right.
They were the first vehicle to convoy. So theirs is fine. He's flourishing, doing his thing. So fast forward 5 a.m. and all of a sudden, he wakes everybody up in the camp. Our captain wakes up, opens his door, and says, "Somebody shut it the fuck up." So my buddy Reeves takes him by the string. He brings him to the burn pit, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Chesty," and he just plummets him with a rock. So both of our chickens never made it to getting eaten.
I'm sorry, Chesty.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this like a movie.
Oh, I've got to step out for
Yeah.
a second. I got to make sure I'm hearing some stuff. I'm going to make sure the domestic terrorist is down and out. I'm going to turn over to T Radio and Whitney. Whitney. Oh my God. Why do you keep doing this with the first name shit? I keep doing the first name thing. Brittany. And I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Whitney.
So you guys, because I want you guys to ask questions. I want you guys to ask questions to Doug, aka Benny, and I'll be right back.
All right, Benny. I was listening to your most recent episode at work the other day. I got to know more about this guy that shit his pants and then threw it out the window on the Parks Expressway.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. So it was one of my buddy's very first kids that he brought to MEPS, and we got a phone call. So we dropped them off at the hotel the night before, and then the next day they wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. They get breakfast and they get on a coach bus, and the coach bus brings them onto base to start the process of joining the military.
I remember those
So
days.
I get a call at like 5 a.m. from my gunny, and at the time I was the A gunner, so I was right below my gunny. I was the assistant to the office, like the boss of the office. So I get a call from my gunny who works at MEPS, and he's like, "Motherfucker!" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Gunny, what? Like, what happened?" And now, mind you, this guy always went off the chain, no matter what. And I was just like, so immediately I'm like, it's probably some stupid paperwork issue, like whatever. And he's like, "Motherfucker!" I'm like, "Yes, Gunny, yes." Like, what do you need me to do? He was like, "Get to MEPS right now with a change of underwear, pants, shirt, tie, everything." And I'm like, "Gunny, a change of underwear?" He's like, "Did I stutter?" I'm like, "No, Gunny, but why do I?" He's like, "Don't ask, just bring it." So I'm like, "Okay." So I call my boss and I'm like, "Yo, Gunny, oh." He's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, Gunny Ledbetter just called me and I need to bring him a pair of underwear. And no, it was Gunny Odenbrett. I was like, Gunny Odenbrett just called me and told me that I need to bring him, a whole set of new clothes, but he wouldn't tell me why. He's like, "I'll call him. Don't go anywhere until I call him." I'm like, "All right."
Don't go anywhere.
So he calls him. I'm already at the office at this point, and I'm on my way, and he's like, "Bro, just go there and Gunny will tell you when you get there." And I'm like, "Bro, what happened, bro?" So I start flying there. I get there and I'm like, "Gunny, what happened?" He's like, "Bro." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude." I'm like, "Yeah." And he literally, this is how the conversation happened. And he's like, "I can't believe," and I still can't, when I tell this story, I can't believe it's a story that happened. Like, it's something out of a movie that would never happen. Like, you're like, where did they get that from? And this made me realize that I don't think there's anything that doesn't happen. It's just real. They're all got to be real stories. So the kid, I guess, didn't feel good. And then he was in the back seat of the bus and he shit his pants. And mind you, he just, for whatever reason, thought that it made more sense to just pull off his pants, his underwear, and throw it out the window of the moving bus on the Garden State Parkway. So when they said, "Hey, everybody get off the bus," the bus driver said, "Hey, everybody get off the bus," and the kid wouldn't get off the bus. He just sat in the back, and then he stood up, and he was like, "No, I can't." And the guy was like, "What do you mean, no, you can't?" And he goes, "I don't have any pants on." And the bus driver says, "Excuse me?" And he says, "Yeah, I don't have any pants on." Now, mind you, you can't get in the building because you don't have ID, you don't have social, you don't have identification. Now, mind you, I didn't tell you this yet, but the reason why the man didn't have identification is because it was in his pants pocket that he threw out of the parkway. So his identification was somewhere out on the thruway. So now, So yeah, in a pile of shit and
Shitty
clothes.
pants.
So he had to. So they had to literally get him. Now we got him these clothes, and then we had to get him. Now we had to go find his belongings on the side of the highway and get it so he can get in the building. Needless to say, he failed the ASVAB and never joined the Marine Corps.
So,
And yeah,
how many vehicles would have ran this
Marine Corps career?
bro.
I thought that would have been the start, the qualifications for a Marine career. Jesus.
Oh, there goes
Okay.
the squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's totally how I started my career.
Shitting your pants and then losing your shit.
Shitting myself and throwing it out the bus on Highway 41. No, I'm wondering how many vehicles ran over his shitty pants before you guys found it with the idea in it.
Shitty situation.
I have to wonder though, like when you find them on the road, are you like stopping cars, like stop?
Yeah, right. Hold on.
Don't worry, the Marine Corps is here.
Wait,
hold on. The Marines have to come out here and grab this shit-filled pair of pants.
Pulling up the pants, shaking them a little.
Yeah.
So yeah, John Woodorf joined us a little late. He says Benny sounds like he's from New Jersey. Well, you did do your.
He's got that New York accent.
Yeah, he's from Brooklyn, but you did do your recruiting duty in Middletown.
So I live in
Middletown,
I
New
grew
Jersey, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn until I was 17, and I moved out to Jersey. My mother still lives in Brooklyn. So like I have an accent, but like my accent, like right now, if I called my mom, my accent would come out like hard, like real bad. Like my wife hates it. Like if I go to Brooklyn for the day, I'll have my accent really thick for like the next 2 weeks. Like it's bad. Like I had friends.
He's
come
not
in
lying.
From, like I had friends
lying.
I had friends that came in to help me do some stuff in the house, and they're from Brooklyn, and the dude, my buddy Conejo, he's a Marine. He says to my wife, he's like, "Yo, can I get the cutter?" And my wife's like, "The what?" And he's like, "Can I get the cutter? Like the cutter? I need the cutter to cut the cut." And she's like, "What the fuck's a cutter?" And my wife's like, you mean the cut? My wife goes, in Jersey we call it a cutter, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I need the fucking cutter." So that day my accent came back like hard body, like it was insane. But yeah, so I live in Jersey, but I don't affiliate myself with living in Jersey. No.
I see your wife saying the accent is terrible. Also, as long as I see her in the comments here, I know I sent you a message after I heard the episode on it. But I'm sorry to hear that I'm sorry to hear that your grandfather died, Hillary. So
oh yeah, thanks.
I did listen. That, man. I did listen to that episode, and I even when you're expecting it, like when my grandpa died too, it's still hard,
Yeah.
So I my heart does go out to you on that.
Absolutely. For those who don't know, this is Carl. He is most
Carl?
expensive free pit bull in the world. $5,000 to fix his fucking leg. He was abused and abandoned, had cigarette burns all over his body. He was about 40 pounds when I got him. He's now a healthy 65, and with he's $1 million pit bull basically. He's got all kinds of titanium in his leg and screws and shit like that. But he looks after my son like it's his freaking mission in life, which is why I wanted a big dog. He loves my wife. He protects the house, even from the random plastic Kroger bags that float across the lawn every once in a while. He makes sure that that can't kill mom. He's awesome, man, and he's sitting right next to me. Of course, I have the space heater down here in the basement, so he's just chilling right next to me, going, "Oh, this is good stuff." But Benny, I want to ask you another thing. What in the hell possessed you to become a recruiter? Because when I was looking at my end of the year, My contract was 5 years. I initially joined to be aviation electrician. I blew the ASVAB up, apparently. And my recruiter, who I still talk to this day, and I still want to kick in the balls, and I want to invite him to be on your show because I love him, but they pushed me to do this job, and I'm like, is there a lot of math involved? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no. And they're like, no, you scored great on this ASVAB. You'll be good. I'm like, no, I won't. I want to go infantry. And they're like, no, do this. You'll have a job after you get out of the Corps. I'm like, well, I had to request mass to get out of that fucking school because I kept getting dropped and dropped and dropped. And when I went in front of the CO of that Marine Corps detachment there in NAS Militant, he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, he looked at he's like, you have no business being here. Yeah, you scored, but the worst part of your ASVAB was math reasoning and everything like that. Like, you have no business being here. And like, so you have two choices now, and I hate to say it, but you can go Expeditionary Airfield or you can go Ammo Tech. I'm like, Ammo Tech sounds cool.
Yeah.
Worst fucking job in the Marine Corps. Well, it's either the worst or the best job. If you're at the ASP, it's horrible. If you're with a using unit, what they call a using ammo tech, it's great because if you're with grunts, 11th Marines, 1st Tanks, 2, 3, whatever, it's awesome because you get to train and all that. But what made you say, all right, I'm in the reserves, I want to do something, I'm gonna be a recruiter? Like, I gotta understand, I gotta hear the story, man.
So it's a good one. So I was a Lance Corporal, just got home from Afghanistan. And I was at ShopRite, our local grocery store, with my wife at the time, my girlfriend. No, I'm sorry, my fiance. And walking through the store, and I see a Marine recruiter, and I just say, "Ross, Sergeant." And immediately he's like, "Hey, brother, do you want to be a Marine?" And I was like, "I'm already a Marine. I just got home from Afghanistan." And he was a Purple Heart recipient. He was actually on the History Channel when he was a PFC, when he for receiving his Purple Heart. Okay. So he started talking to me about recruiting duty, and he was like, "Hey man, I can get you home, and I can get you to stay on active duty here as a recruiter, just as like an assistant at first." And I was only a Lance Corporal because you can't be a full-time recruiter till you're a sergeant. So I was like, okay. So I started out, I just hung around him all the time, and I would get active duty orders for like 30 days. And this became like years that I would go and I would do it. And then there was one day I was a corporal, and I went out to a school, and I was in the school with the Sergeant Hong. And I was out with a master sergeant, who was the career recruiter, which is an 8412. So his job is to be the recruiter for the careerist. Right. So we're in the school, and I'm killing it. Like, I'm getting kids' names, I'm getting kids' numbers, all this stuff, setting appointments. And then we get in the car, and the master sergeant is in the front seat on the passenger side, and the sergeant's in the driver's seat, and I'm sitting behind the master sergeant, and he goes, "Hey, Bennett." I was like, now mind you, this is like the first time I've ever had a conversation with a master sergeant. So I'm sitting in the front. I'm sitting in the back seat.
About mine later.
So I'm sitting in the back seat of the car, and he's like, "Hey, Bennett." I'm like, "Yes, Master Sergeant." And he's like, "How does it make you feel that as a Lance Corporal who's never been to school of recruiting, you're better than this fucking sergeant right here?" And I was like, I'm sorry." And he was like, "How does it make you feel that you just destroyed this dude and did his work for him? And now he is going to go do all these appointments and everything, and he didn't do shit in his own school." And I was like, "Well, it feels pretty good, Master Sergeant." And he was like, he turned around and looked at me, and he was like, "Hey, man, one day you're going to replace me." And he was like, "You're going to be a Master Sergeant in my MOS, and you're going to be a career recruiter." And I was like, at the time, I was like, "Nah, bro, I don't want to do that." I was like, "Nah." I was like, "No, I see these lives. I see what these guys go through." And I was like, "Nah, man, right now I'm just kind of doing this because I need the money, and the active duty money's good." So fast forward I started loving doing it. I started doing it even on my free time, and I decided that I wanted to be a recruiter. So I started putting in my paperwork to become a recruiter, and my paperwork ended up getting approved, but my wife got cancer. So at the time, I was like, listen, I cannot go on a rigorous duty when my wife's about to be on cancer, like have cancer. Like, I won't be home. I'll be working crazy hours. Like, I can't put her through that. So I decided that I was going to just postpone it and, if do it later on in life, in my career. So I did. So my wife, ended up battling cancer, beat cancer, and was, got her test results that she was clean a year later. I was working as a mailman for the United States Postal Service. And one day my wife comes home and she's like, Doug, like, you can't do this shit anymore. I was like, what? She was like, Doug, you hate your job. You hate your life. This is not what you wanted to do. She was like, you need to go and talk to them and find out how to become a recruiter and submit your paperwork. So I submitted my paperwork and I became a recruiter. And it was really just because I hated what the Marine Corps recruiting stood for.
What was that? What did you think was that? What did you think it stood for at the time?
I say that because, like you just said, they pushed me to do something I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Like myself, I was told that, like, people ask me all the time, hey, why'd you become a reservist? I was literally told that I could go reserves, and when I got home from boot camp, change it to active duty. I was lied to.
Where in this timeout, where did I miss that he's a reversist?
You didn't catch that part?
The very beginning of the show.
I swear it was probably when the blow dryer was going on for the Hawk. How did I miss this?
It's all that global warming shit you're spraying on your hair.
When the world comes apart and they blame the ozone, like, whole thing going on.
Well, Radio, you should be kind of familiar with Benny because you're always on TMR's videos. And
I randomly like swerve in and out of those different worlds and whatnot. So no, I've been aware of him for a while, actually. Because I thought that makes sense why it's called Semper Sometimes now. Son of a bitch.
You don't know why? Benny, explain why it's called Semper Sometimes. Explain why you named it Semper Sometimes, because I love this explanation.
So the reason why I named it Semper Sometimes was because, number one, I knew that it was going to piss a lot of people off.
Fuck yeah,
Charlie Brown.
I have so many Marines that are like, it's fucking rude, it's fucking this, and I'm like, bro, you call us cran eaters, how much ruder can we get?
You gotta own it, man. You gotta own it.
Hell yes, own it.
And the reason why I named it that is because, always, sometimes. And the reason is because we say always faithful, but we're not. We're not always faithful. Like, for instance, like, I'm going to say this and someone in the world might hate me for it, but when I'm doing a religious exemption to get the vaccine. And
oh yeah, that's right. You're in one of those crazy states that you got to get that shit.
Well, no, I'm talking about for the Marine Corps.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Marines are pushing that shit.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're still in the Marine Corps. Did I not know this?
Yeah, he's a reservist still.
Yeah! That's my man right there. Way to go.
So in my letter that I had to write, my last sentence that I put in the letter is, I still believe in Semper Fidelis. Because if the term is Semper Fidelis, you're now saying unless you're vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's literally what you're saying, because you're no longer being faithful to me because I'm not vaccinated. I have to get out of the Marine Corps because I'm not vaccinated. So that's my thing.
What do you think about this? Like, I don't know if T was in there. I don't think Radio was there. I'm old. I'm salty as fuck. Like, people don't know this, but I'm about 45. So I joined the Marine Corps in '94. And so I went through the whole 9/11. I went through the whole anthrax shit.
No, I had
And
anthrax. I was.
Did you get it too? Okay, all right. So you did too. And I got what was it? 5 series? 5 series of anthrax shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it never affected me. It did fuck up a lot of people. I think like at one point, ammo company was down probably 20% for a week. Guys, SIQ, because they were that fucked up. But I remember getting an argument with a guy, and tell me if I'm wrong. I got an argument with a guy. I stood up in a battalion formation. I told another Marine to shut the fuck up because we're getting these injections. And I'm like, what are you arguing about? There is no argument to be done. All right. We signed away our shit. We signed a contract. We basically signed away everything. So what are you fucking arguing about? There's nothing to argue about. You signed the contract. You signed away your rights. Take the shot and shut the fuck up. Because really, I'm bored at this fucking battalion formation at this point. I just want to take the shot and move the fuck on with my life, go back to the bar, go start chasing tail, and that's it. Now, I get it. It's different now. That was, people getting anthrax shots for fucking ever. Forever.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a whole different story with this mRNA shit and this COVID shit, which, A, isn't a vaccine, B, doesn't really fucking work, doesn't protect you from getting it, doesn't protect you from spreading it. So I get that part of this now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I totally get it. Like, I would, if I was in at this time, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing it.
I'm not.
Of course, I'd be like 25 years in the Marine Corps. So you want to boot me out? Fuck you. Good luck. Fine, kick me out. Let me retire.
I think that's the thing too with these mandates is like some of the older guys are going to be the guys that are saying, no, I ain't doing this. Like I remember, like when we went through that anthrax series. I mean, I was 19, 20 years old, straight out of boot camp. I wasn't thinking about shit except for going out to drink after I got off of work.
Oh yeah.
All right. I was kind of bored. I was kind of borderline alcoholic already.
Wait, kind of borderline, or you were?
Kind of. You could say I was. Maybe.
Hey, Bennett, give me your best. I want your best recruit story and your worst recruit story, if you can. And you don't have to name names, but I want you start with your best. The guy. What I'm actually looking at is like a guy you recruited that you were like, oh, Jesus, I don't know if this dude's going to make it. And he turned out to be a superstar. And then you recruited a superstar, and he turned out to be kind of a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So, all right. So, I got a good one. So this is a really funny one. It's a long-winded story, but I promise you it's a good one.
Oh, you're on the board. You're good, man. I'm all long-winded all day.
So
we don't really have a time limit on this show.
And it's actually it's just a good story. So I had this recruiter that me and him are now friends, but when we met, I couldn't stand him. Worked with him for 4 years of my life, and I loathed him. I hated everything about the guy. And now, after we got off the duty, we're good friends. And so one day, I was on maternity leave with my wife. My son had just been born. And I swung by the office to get something, and one of my guys that I had just put in the Marine Corps comes running up to me, and he's like, hey, Sergeant Bennett, he's like, I got this kid for you. His name's Dylan. I want you to meet him. So I'm like, all right, word. So I go over, I meet the kid, Dylan. He's like, yes, he's like, Staff Sergeant Romaine's my recruiter. And I'm like, what high school do you go to? He goes, oh, I go to Freehold. I was like, no, bitch, you're mine. And I was like, no, you're mine. And he goes, oh, okay. Now, mind you, I did not know that while I was on maternity leave, this recruiter changed the school to my name, submitted all of the paperwork for this kid under his name, and knowingly was going to get the contract.
Oh, you fucking shitting me.
Without me, and he thought I wouldn't know.
Oh my God, I would have murdered that dude. Not murdered, but I would have fucking thrown hands.
No, don't lie. You would have murdered him.
So as this
I didn't murder my dad, Kurt.
As this is happening, Romaine is getting into his car. And I'm like, yo, get over here, bro. Get the hell. He's like, no, I got to go. So he hops in his car and drives away. So I call my boss and I start bugging out. I'm like, yo, Gunny, why the heck is he doing this? I'm like, and my Gunny's like, oh, I had no idea he was doing it. And I'm like, bro, Gunny, I'm not stupid. The only way that he could change that kid's name to his name is by you doing it. You had to be the person because you have the permissions. He doesn't have the ability to do that without your permission. So you knew this was happening. So I call the dude. He hangs up on me. And I'm like flipping out, bro. And I'm like, you know what, bro? I'll just deal with it on Monday. So Monday morning, I walk into the office off leave, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, bro, you're good. I put the package on your desk. Kid's in your name. And I was like, bro, it doesn't even matter. I was like, we're not talking. We're missing the principle here. I was like, we're supposed to be working in an office, being a team, and you're going behind my back to put a kid in the Marine Corps that my poolee brought me. Like, I don't know how in any way you thought this should be yours. And then I start looking through the paperwork, and I find out that he even went as far as to sitting down with the kid's parents and getting the signatures from the parents, meeting the whole family. So he did the whole thing. And the kid was supposed to be going to MEPS tomorrow to join. So, like, if I hadn't found this out, this whole thing was the kid would have never been mine. Now, at the time,
been gone.
Yeah. So at the time, this kid, his name is Dylan Polino, was a short, chubby dude.
Just dropping some names. Love it.
Dylan Polino, short, stout Dominican kid. And
God.
he was just, very lazy, lackadaisical, former pot smoker, and, whatever. And so I was like, I knew he was going to join the Marine Corps, and I knew he was going to be a good Marine. I just didn't know how far he'd go and how great of a Marine he would be. So he ends up going to boot camp, and we got him an intelligence job.
Shit!
Because he didn't.
That's what I.
So he
must have passed the D-Lab test too.
Yeah,
I tried to go for that.
I took it and I passed, and they didn't give it to me.
I failed the D-Lab.
So I got him. So we got him an intelligence job, and long story short, halfway through boot camp, we get a call from him, and he lost his job, and he was now going to be some sort of electrician. And we find out afterwards why he lost his job. He lost his job because when it comes to intelligence, you get multiple investigations through boot camp. It's not just the one-time drill instructor. It's multiple. Like, you get pulled into a room multiple times.
The FBI goes to your house.
Yeah, and you get interrogated multiple times.
My mom was very favorite. She loved that part.
So, like by the third time, they're like, "Listen, we know you smoked weed. We know you smoked weed." And he's like, "All right, I smoked weed 279 times." And literally
shit.
he said that number. It was like, how do you know that exact number?
Exactly.
Like,
the 279.
You know the amount of tokes you took every time. Like, what?
Dude, I was so freaking fried all the way through high school. There's no way I could remember how.
Yeah, you would never know. So he tells the recruiter. So he tells the drill instructor that, and they're like, "All right, well, hey, you just lost intelligence. You're gonna go be, I think like an electronic specialist or some kind of data guy." And now,
I might have worked with this fucking guy.
So he's out in now he's out in Japan. And he's a corporal. He's a black, I believe a black belt, in McMap, and he actually just re-enlisted, and he's going to be EOD. So, so he's doing phenomenal in the Marine Corps. And like I said, I wouldn't say I didn't think he'd be doing great, but I didn't see his potential like it is. And what was funny too about him, I'll never forget it. And these are the things I loved about recruiting duty, was I was standing inside the guidance counselor's office with him and his dad. And the reason why we were in the school was because we were trying to get him to leave the boot camp early and not go to graduation. And his father was not about it. But his father was like, hey, listen, if that's what you want, then fine, I'll go in. And the school was like, well, we need to talk to Dad in person. So Dad came, and his dad's like old school Dominican, like nice clothes, like really done up, like beautiful
Too much
hair.
perfume.
Like dad is like, you got the perm going on, like full Dominican, right?
Oh,
Like,
You
you
walk
know,
in
"Que
with
lo
the
que,
pimp cane.
papi?" You know, everything. Like,
Yeah.
Sammy
tranquilo.
Sosa, bleach
Like, yeah.
skin.
He's got to walk
So-
in with the pimp cane, though.
So he walks in, and the dad looks at him and goes, mind you, this is like a week before he's graduating high school. And the dad just looks at the teacher and goes, "So how are his grades?" And she's like, well, you know what? And she's a white woman. And she goes, well, you know, he was doing phenomenal the first part of the year, but, you know, now he's got like C's and dropping down. And his father just looks at him and goes, huh?
Huh?
And she goes, yeah. And he goes, huh? And dude, right in front of the whole school, he's like, Dylan, what did she just say? You want to fuck me? And he starts going fucking crazy. He's like, after all the time, I buy you a fucking car. I let you drive my fucking Camaro. I let you drive this. I let you do what you want. You want to fuck me? He goes, and you want me to tell you you could join the Marine Corps and leave me and never come back? And he goes, what the fuck, Dylan? And he's like, I don't know. He goes, I don't know anymore. I don't know I'm going to let you leave, Dylan. And the teacher's just like, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Scarface up in this motherfucker.
And but yeah, dude, the dad went bonkers, dude. And but yeah, no, now he's, like I said, he's doing phenomenal in the Marine Corps, doing great things. Then another funny one. I don't really have any that I was like, wow, they would have done great and they ended up not.
Gotcha.
Like I'm trying to think if there is.
Oh, Brittany's got something in her head, though. What
but
do you got,
I do,
Brittany? Say it, Brittany.
No, let him finish the story.
So the one, I think one of my favorite, my all-time, like, my favorite is I had a young man call me. I'll never forget it. It was the day of my wife's baby shower. And I'm outside the house. I literally remember exactly, like my memory on this is perfect. Standing outside of my house, getting the bags in the car, and I get a phone call, and it's this mom on the phone. And she's like in a frantic mode. And, oh wait, no, hold on. Sorry. Wrong story. So I'm sitting in my office.
Fucking Pixel, knock it off.
That leads into
Jackass.
the story.
Focus, Marine.
That leads into the story, though.
Okay.
It's part of it. So I'm sitting in my office. It's 8 a.m. And I get a phone call. And his name is Nicholas George. And Nicholas George looks like John Cena. Like, I know you can't see John Cena, but if you were ever able to see John Cena, this is what he would look like.
That's clever. He's good. He's good.
So he looks he looks as if John Cena would look. And he calls me and he's like, hey man, I want to join the Marine Corps, but I'm outside the Toms River office in Toms River, New Jersey, and nobody's here. And I was like, oh, well, good thing is I'm here at my office and I'm 20 minutes away. If you can get here now, we can do everything you got to do. So I'm like, hey, but do me a favor. He's like, what's up? I'm like, all right, when you walk in the door, my boss is going to ask you who the fuck you are and where you came from. You're just going to say, I got a call at 8 o'clock this morning and I was on my way. So I hang up the phone. I go, yo, Gunny! He goes, what's up, Bennett? I was like, just got a same day appointment. Kid's coming in, join the Marine Corps. And he's like, nice, man. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's how I do it. So the kid comes walking in and starts talking to me and telling me everything. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. He's like, I have a DUI that I got while I was away at college in Norwich. And everything's been dropped. I've paid everything. Like, I'm good. This was years ago. But I was told that I couldn't join the Marine Corps with a DUI by all these people. And people tell, like, the Army says it all the time. They're like, you can't join the Marine Corps if you have a DUI, which is not true. So I'm like, oh, bro, like, we can do your paperwork easily. Like, let's go. Like, give me everything. So long story short, I get his paperwork approved and everything. And when you're somebody who has a 4-year degree, I have to put you on the phone with the captain, and the captain has to talk to you to make sure that you don't want to go officer. So I put him on the phone with this captain, and the captain's like, all right, hey, man, you know, what's going on? You sound like a great candidate. I want you to be an officer. And my dude...
It's the franchise shining now. You can't see my time is now.
So
I had to.
So I put him on the phone with this captain, and he just goes, as the captain begins to speak, all he says is, sir, I'm going to stop you right there. The answer is no. He goes, I do not want to be a captain. I don't want to be an officer. I spent 4 years surrounded by you guys at Norwich, and I'm fucking good. I don't want to be shit like you guys. He's like, I want to go enlisted, then I'll become an officer so I can actually respect myself because I went enlisted first. And I was just like, and then the captain's like, hey, put him on the phone with me. So I get back on the phone, and I'm like, I'm waiting for my ass chewing. And he's like, Bennett, did you fucking tell him to say that? I was like, I did not, sir. I was like, I did not tell him to say that. That was all on his own. And he goes, his exact words were, that motherfucker's going to fail at boot camp. Just fucking watch. Long story short, he actually ended up becoming honor grad.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
So I'm sitting in my office. So I'm sitting in my office a couple of months later, and I get a phone call from the colonel saying, hey, man, you're going to get a flight to South Carolina to see Nicholas George graduate. And part of the thing I didn't tell you yet was part of the reason why Nicholas George didn't join the Marine Corps earlier on is because his mother was completely against it. His mom did not want him to join. His mom said the only way you can join is if you get a degree. You can only join if you get a degree. So that's why he went to the 4-year college. So when I met mom was completely still against it. She was like, you're taking my son away. Whatever. So I get the call that I'm going to go to South Carolina. I get my airplane, boom, flying to South Carolina. I fly into Georgia. I'm sitting at the airport getting my bags. The woman says, hey, are you a Marine? I'm like, yes, I am. And she goes, I'm going to upgrade you to a Camaro. I was like, that's fucking amazing. So she gave me a 2019 brand new Camaro, leather seat. Like, this shit was ridiculous. Nice. So I was just like, let's go. So I get outside, and I thought it was like, I didn't realize that it was a Camaro. I thought it was like a Dodge Avenger or some shit. And I get outside, and I click the button, and the car just goes, and I was like, yeah. Like, I was like, this is great.
Yeah, so, buddy.
You know, I drive it. I drive out there. I get there, and the next day we do the formation. We do the run, and we're doing the run, and I'm running right next to Nicholas George, and he looks to me and he goes, Sergeant Bennett? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh shit, what's up, sir? And we just keep doing the run. And that night we had a dinner with the colonel.
What's up, sir? You're a Marine now. I'm not a fucking officer.
Yeah. Well, actually, not yet, because the run's not over, and they haven't done their Eagle Globe and Acre ceremony.
Yeah.
I guess he got me there.
So we get back and we go to dinner, and I meet his mom again, and his mom's bawling, crying, and she's like, I'm so sorry for everything I ever said to you. She's like, this is the proudest moment of my entire life. Sure. Thank you so much. And then I met the colonel and then all that stuff. But then one of the things that I hadn't said was in between this story, the day that I had started with at my wife's baby shower, I had gotten a phone call, and the mom was crying on the phone, and she's telling me about her son that got a DUI. And I'm like, oh, your son's name is Nicholas. I'm working with him. And she goes, how do you know my son's name? And I'm like, well, because I'm working with him. He goes, what's his last name? I was like, his name's Nicholas George. She goes, no, my son's name is Nicholas Patterson. And I was like, so there's two Nicholases from the same town that went to the same college and got the same DUI? And yes, they are. And they were best friends. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? So Nicholas, so he ends up joining, and he joined and shipped within like a week. He dropped like 20 some odd pounds overnight.
Holy fuck!
Literally dropped like overnight.
That's
dropped
a lot
like
of meth.
Yeah, so he dropped all this weight, and we didn't believe him. He was like, I was like, hey man, like in order for you to go to MEPS on Monday,
I
you gotta
wrestled
drop.
in high school, and I don't think I could have done that.
So he
fucking
was,
shit.
he was a
Yeah,
wrestler,
my
and
top.
we were like, hey man, by Monday you got to be at this weight to go to MEPS. And he was like, all right, I'll be here, I'll be good. Monday morning, walks in, boom, good. So then he comes back from MEPS, and we're like, hey man, we actually have the job that you want with a bonus. Can you leave for boot camp the following Monday? And I'm like, he's like, yeah. And I'm like, but there's a problem. He goes, what? I was like, you got to lose another 20 pounds.
Ah!
And he was like, let's go. He's like, I'll do it. I'll be good. So I'm like, there's no way. He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'll be fine. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'll be good. I'll be good. So literally Monday morning, following week, kid walks into my office and he's just like, I'm here, sir. And I'm like, get on the scale. Hops on the scale, and he's good. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? And then he hands me a bag. He hands me a bag of like 20 pounds of food. It's steaks, pork chops, breakfast, all this stuff. And he's like, sir, as soon as I weigh in, can I eat this? I was like, yeah. So I bring him to MEPS. I walk in, I give it to the gunny. I'm like, hey, bro, as soon as he weighs in, he's going to eat breakfast. He goes, he's good. So literally he weighs in, makes weight, sat there at MEPS with like 30 pounds of food and just garfed it all down.
That's a fucking shit ton of food, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And dude, he had like 2
Fuck.
porterhouse steaks that he made. He had like beef jerky. I got him a bagel with cream cheese. Like this dude was like, bro, I need to eat. And he ate it all. And same thing, he became a Marine. And Nicholas George actually, I believe, ended up becoming a scout sniper in the Marine Corps.
Nice.
So he's doing great things still. But yeah, like I said, I do have there are people that I put in the Marine Corps that did get NJP'd or kicked out like within months of me putting them in the Marine Corps.
I got NJP'd.
Well, that probably happens to every recruiter, though.
Yeah. I got NJP'd. I was meritoriously promoted out of boot camp. I was meritoriously promoted in school.
I've never heard of a meritorious.
Yeah.
Meritorious.
Busted down too. NJP'd in school. It was a good time. Hey, you want to hang out for some memes?
Always, yeah.
All right, let's do this. So these are all Brittany's memes she sent me.
Brittany loves memes.
So she's
me and
she
Brittany were in a meme war earlier this week.
Oh
She
my
has to
God.
do-
I look at my phone sometimes and I'm like, what? It's like the notifications on the message, like on that group chat. I'm just like, what in the actual fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, Brittany was sending all these memes while I was at Sammy's hockey practice, and I'm just like, I gotta send some back. This is one of mine right here. This is one of mine right here.
There we go.
That's too funny. Get ready to receive all the blessings you. Is that like a Julie your mind kind of thing right there?
This is
What the hell's
Brittany.
going on
Yeah,
here?
this is Brittany right here.
This
There you
is
go.
all Brittany memes here.
I love it.
I'm fucking dead.
Well, I feel like we have to have like a dating show for Brittany here or something.
No.
Minnie right away was like, no, absolutely not. There's no way.
We had a fun conversation a couple weeks ago. That
We're not
me and
trying
Brittany
to
know
be
each other for a
accessories
minute.
to
I'm like,
murder here.
No, I love Brittany. I love Brittany, but I like it's got to be the right dude. Like,
yeah,
I'm
I
not
know.
gonna,
We
like,
have to
push-
sit the guy down and be like, look, man.
Look what you're getting into,
This
all right?
is-
Understand
okay?
this, okay?
Like, I'm not bringing the gun. I'm not bringing the knife. I'm asking if you're going to be okay and can handle yourself because...
You better be able to, because it's going to get fun. It's getting interesting. By the way, United States Marine.
Hell yeah. Reservist.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Hold on for a second. Who
I feel like I'm
has
gonna
sex in
slip
the
and
shower?
fall.
Oh,
Benny.
my,
Sex in the shower? No,
my,
right?
my wife and I have been on the reality side of this a few
Oh
times.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, like
I mean,
absolutely.
No, Benny. I want to hear Benny.
I'm almost 40 now, so I mean, like when I was in my 20s, I could do the left, but yeah.
No.
Sex in the shower,
I'm
yay or nay?
I will slip
Listen,
and
I would-
fall if I try to do the
I've
left side.
always loved it. Me and my wife would love it, but unfortunately, like he said, we always find ourselves on the reality side of things.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that the sex expectation side, like I'm gonna slip and fucking fall.
It sounds so good,
Like,
but
when
I gotta
not
fill out.
being,
We gotta do an ORM.
I
gotta
think
have
it
like
only worked
ORM.
one time. I think it's only worked one time for me, and that was because the guy the guy that I was dating at the time, he had the stone wall showers, and then he also had like a bench inside, and that was the only time it worked out great. And then the rest of the time, if I was dating other guys and it's like in a tub, I'm like, this is just all I'm doing is getting my back.
And the
clean.
problem I have though
with
is
the
like
left picture too, you can't stand at the position of attention like that. You got to have your legs spread a little bit out.
Yeah, you gotta have some balance.
You gotta push your heels into each side of the tub.
I've fallen
thrusting upwards.
before just trying to be in that position, and of course it was with my ex-husband. He's trying to put my feet like on both sides of the tub and like kind of stand and whatnot, and I'm just like, this is not gonna work.
So I'm kind of sitting here like,
this is in the barracks bathroom too. So
So I'm like sitting here though, and I'm also thinking like I'm kind of short. Like I'm only 5'9". So the problem with the reality side for me is like sometimes as like the female gets to be a little bit taller, I feel like I need a step stool to help me out.
My wife's only 5'1", so I'm good on that side of things.
Well, that's what you get when you marry a Filipino.
I've gotta
They're
like
not exactly very fucking tall. All right, next one.
Choking is overrated. Grab her double chin.
Come on.
Jesus.
All I can think about right now is the fucking chicken strapped to the
All I can think
roller.
about is Brittany's a fucking gangster. That's all I
He's thinking about Chesty.
Oh my god, the chicken strapped to the mine roller.
Benny, you got the next call on the next meme. Are you ready? I have no idea what it's going to be, Benny. So just have fun.
Nice.
Oh, what the fuck?
Skeletor! Oh, Lord of you.
Jesus,
oh my god.
Oh, dude, I had a good Skeletor meme in there earlier this week too. I gotta find that shit.
Yeah, I said that to my ex-husband. He was not happy about that one. This one he wasn't happy about either.
Dude's got no fucking sense of humor. Whatever, I could take that meme and be like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
It's all about girth, right? It's all about girth.
I mean, sorry, it's like the black hole in there.
That's fucking life, bro.
Oh my god. Our group chat, I swear, I look at that sometimes. I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah, our group chat was off the hook this week.
There we go. Is it back?
All right.
Okay.
All right, I set my Skeletor meme back in there.
All right.
It was
shit.
It was also an Alec Baldwin meme at the same time.
Alec Baldwin has killed. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
What is it? What's the bottom say?
This says, when someone say they hate me, I'll get you a spoon so you can eat my ass.
Oh, great. I love Stifler.
Yeah.
Oh, who didn't have Benny? You were in New York. You were in New York area. You're Brooklyn. You had Stiflers, right? Or were you the Stifler?
I'm a very big Stifler, yes.
Ah!
my wife and I just watched American Reunion this week, actually. We're just
it's
watching
great.
them.
Who doesn't have a stiffler? You have to have, like, I mean, yeah, I was kind of a jog. I ran. I played baseball, played football, but like,
I'm your asshole.
I had a stiffler, but it wasn't me. And you know what it was? He joined the Marine Corps with me, and Benny will love me for this. Guess how many guys I signed up for my recruiter? Guess.
A bunch. 10,
4.
12? 4.
4.
Nice. That's
I wrote
a lot.
my recruiter 4. Well, I didn't write them, but you know what I mean. Like I gave him 4.
That's 2 months
4
of work.
contracts.
I joined the Marine Corps by accident. It was a bet, and I lost that bet.
And we all played baseball. We all ran cross country. We were those guys, and holy shit, it was hilarious.
I always say semi-jokingly, I joined the Marine Corps on a $20 bet because there was a guy in high school that bet me $20 that I couldn't make it through Marine Corps boot camp.
Oh God, I wish I would have taken that bet.
That's not exactly the reason I joined, but I always jokingly say that's why I joined.
Right.
No, I literally joined because a fucking bet gone bad. Really horribly bad.
Right. Next meme. When it's oh wow.
When it's only Tuesday. Fucking juice.
Brittany's fucking awesome.
Where do you get these? Like, what do you do all day? She's
just a meme fucking harvester, man. Single guys never shoot their shot, but the
Jesse Easterly. The problem with showing sex is women like water 200 degrees.
Oh my God, that's great. This is you're in charge of this now, Brittany. By the way.
Yeah, Brittany is definitely
you're the meme goddess
getter.
now. That's just it. Just is what it is.
The awesome moment when these two finally decide to synchronize.
Oh, I get it. The brain and the heart.
Both say fuck you.
Yep.
Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. He sneaks around the tower at night, avoiding Alan Rickman. It's a Harry Potter movie.
No, it is the best Christmas movie of all time.
Thank you, Benny.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
You. Thank you.
Well, Bad Santa's pretty good too.
Well, you got to think about it. Somebody
that was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like one of the only movies I own on Amazon.
Why didn't Chuck Norris ever make a Christmas movie? That would have been pretty epic.
Because it's fucking Chuck Norris and he does what he wants.
Yeah, I'm saying he should have done a Christmas movie.
All right, Brittany, stop. What the fuck is with this Sharon?
Oh my God!
Please explain this because I'm missing.
I see this.
So around Thanksgiving, this woman she wrote a complaint to Marie Callender saying, "Thanks, Marie Callender, for ruining Thanksgiving dessert." It was like this burnt as fuck pie.
Yeah, I see that.
And people just start calling her out like, "No, you just set the oven to hell. Like that was not Marie Callender's fault. That was your fault." So the whole internet just like ganged up on this woman and just wrote a shit ton of memes. So I found a bunch and I just couldn't stop.
It was great.
A Karen. All right, I got it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a Karen named Sharon.
And apparently it wasn't her first. It wasn't her first time ruining, something that she was supposed to bring. So somebody wrote a meme saying, just bring ice, and it was like a picture of like burnt ice.
Just a puddle of water.
Oh, there's another one. There you go. But it took it out of there. Sharon, that was a smoke. Oh God.
I'll see if I can find the original post, but
we gotta find the original.
It was Sharon something or another to Marie Callender's.
Sharon White.
Oh my God.
It was a Marie Callender's pie that she burnt.
Oh, this is great. This I've seen before and I love it. It should have happened.
Yeah.
Like because of the Tony Stark character and how sarcastic he is, which
that
is
would have been
a very
epic if they
Marine
had
thing.
done that.
We deflect with sarcasm all the time. Benny, you know this for sure.
Yep.
It's just we shit talk all the fucking time.
It's a must.
Jailhouse rules, man. That's what my stepdad told me. Jailhouse rules. I'm strong,
I'm a
independent
strong,
woman, but I'm
independent
already
woman.
wrapped up in this blanket. So if you get me a coffee and snack, that'd be great. Oh, that's Brittany. Yep, that's Brittany right there. There you go. Go ahead, Brittany. Holy shit.
Brittany, I look nice. Mirrors, you look nice. Shop windows, you look nice. Other
You
people,
look nice. Other people, you look nice. I have phone forward facing camera. What up, you 6'10" Shrek looking bag of shit?
I love it. I love it.
By the way, have we seen my double chin lately?
Oh, there you go.
It's fucking epic.
That's good. That's politics
That's a
right
good
there
one.
for you.
Alec Baldwin has killed more people than
You know what's funny? After the whole incident with Alec Baldwin, so I work at a car dealership and I take calls and I schedule things and whatnot. And I had a guy call and he's like, yeah, I want to set up an appointment. I said, okay, can I get your first name? He's like, Alec. And I'm like, Alec or Alex? He's like, Alec, A-L-E-C, like Baldwin, except I didn't shoot anybody and I didn't get away with it. I was just like, I don't know if I should laugh or if I'm going to lose my job. I laughed anyways, but.
Oh my God! All right, so last question I really have, and Benny, if you want to stay, you can stay as long as you can. If you got to bounce, you can bounce. No worries.
Oh, I've got reverses questions all day long for this.
The
guy.
last question I have for you is, and we talked about this last night on the phone. What did you think of the Lieutenant Colonel? He was the
all right,
SOI
Minnie.
instructor.
I just sent the pie that the whole Sharon memes were.
Holy crap! We're back to the pie.
What did you think about that?
I had to
Benny?
look it up. Sorry.
What did you think about that Marine coming out and doing what he did?
So like I said last night, initially I was excited. I was happy because somebody of a higher stature was asking for accountability.
Right, a lieutenant colonel. That's that's getting up there a little bit.
So, like, that was the thing. But then I had mentioned I did an episode with a lieutenant colonel who just retired. And I had asked him the question on the episode, and it was like right at the height of when it was happening. And I was like, sir, what do you think about that situation? And his answer to me changed. His answer to me changed my interpretation and changed my opinion on it, because it was pretty much, his answer was he didn't have to do it publicly. He could have done it through a letter where no one needed to know about it. And then it was also the way that he went about it, that some people see it as it was unprofessional. And then the fact that he went from 1 video to 2 videos to 3 videos, when it kind of went,
right when I
off the
said
wall with
bye,
it.
Julie, she says, "Ugh, I'm back."
So
sorry to distract you, Benny.
So I think where he went, I think his heart was in the right place, and I'm not mad at him for doing it. I would love to meet him, do an episode with him, and talk to him about it, and know what was going through his mind. But I feel like it could have been done a lot better, and I feel like his service would have been a lot better if he had just stayed in the Marine Corps and been the leader that we needed him to be, rather than got out of the Marine Corps like that.
Me too. I was thinking, like, when he did it, I'm like, fuck yeah. But then I was like, oh shit. No.
Well, and it's also because, like,
what were you thinking? No, you can't do that. It's not gonna go your way. It's never gonna go your way. They're gonna hammer you because that's what command does. And they should have, in my opinion, they should have hammered him. You don't do that. You just don't do that.
And that's the thing too that a lot of people felt, was that what he did now put a bad look on them. Not a bad look on the Marine Corps, but now why can't a Lance Corporal do that? Why can't a captain do that?
That's the whole thing about. I think it's unique to the Marine Corps. I don't know if it is, Benny, but I think it is request mass, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can literally go to the Commandant of the Marine Corps, request mass, say, I need to talk to you. And I've only used it one time. And it is very effective. I used it one time when I put in for Iwakuni. Oh, no. Let me start from the start. I put in for Guantanamo Bay as a joke, right? I put in for Guantanamo Bay as a joke. Then I put in for Iwakuni. Then I put in for Lejeune just for shits and giggles, right? Where'd they send me? From Pendleton? They sent me to fucking Miramar. Like, just big green weenie, just right in there. Like, oh. But why? I get the big green weenie thing, but why can't you just... Oh, God, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I apologize. I really apologize, but I lost my train of thought.
So real
really
fast on Lieutenant I think it was like Scheller or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So I think you got to look, the way I look at it is a couple different ways. One, I agree, it was cool to see somebody come out in that position because you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
They're very quiet, they're very reserved a lot of times on their personal opinions. Okay, cool. But then it was starting to look a little weird when he started doing other videos like, okay, what's this dude's mental mindset? But the other issue I had was how the Marine Corps handled it at first. The Marine Corps was gunning for him big time. Rightfully so, maybe not. I do agree with him being removed from command, which that was the right call to do. It had to be done because you can't have a commanding officer of any unit anywhere doing that and then letting it slide, so to speak, as it goes through whatever the legal process is. So the fact that he was removed from command, that was the right call. It had to be done regardless. But then
I guess I'm lost.
Well, we'll get there. It's okay. You can, now you know what Marines feel like. So that was pretty good. Come on. But now that the thing where I see that it was handled properly, and at least is when they went to the hearing and he was able to leave in the manner that he is. Because that whole situation could have spun out of control and been way freaking worse than it ended up being. So that was like the first time I think that I saw the Marine Corps actually handle something in a positive light, because I mean, big Marine Corps, let's spin this thing to our advantage. Like, if you're just gonna go and just hammer someone instantly for a personal opinion and just be like, you know, screw you, get the hell out, you get nothing. I mean, yeah, he was saying something that we all thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wish I could remember what the hell I was talking about, but this is what I love of the Marine Corps. Look at Benny. Look at Radio. I mean, Jesus Christ, the dude's got a fucking mohawk with highlights. Like, he's still my boy. He's still my boy. I love him.
It's funny about that.
I'll defend him to the day I die. He's great. And I got Brittany.
Brittany's
what
our
else
squid.
You got? What else you got for fucking Benny? I mean, come on, girl. I know you got something. You're just sitting there looking like.
I've got nothing. I mean, I've been intrigued to listen to the stories.
So Benny, I've got a couple things for you here, actually, because this is interesting. You're now in the reserves.
Yes.
You're seeing a completely different side of the Marine Corps now than you were originally. Like, so you, active duty side, then now you see how different is it?
So I was, so actually I have a more unique story. So I came in the Marine Corps as a reservist. I was a reservist for 8 years. Then I went on active duty for 4 years, and now I came back to the reserve program.
So you went on active duty just to be a recruiter?
Yes.
You are royally fucked up. I like it.
I know. No, so it's a very different, and I've done podcasts about it. It's just a different world, man. It's a different world, different light. Everything is different. And most people who go from the reserve, from active duty, like people, you know, say people do active duty for 4 years, get out of the Marine Corps, and they're like, hey, I'm going to go do the reserve thing. What I try to explain to people is if you are going to do that, then you need to understand that active duty Marine Corps and the reserve Marine Corps are two totally different worlds. Because you got to understand that as a Marine reservist, your whole life isn't the Marine Corps.
Yep.
You have, and I don't mean, some people take this the wrong way. I don't mean it, you know, in a negative way, but in the Marine Corps Reserves, you have a real life outside of the Marine Corps.
Yep.
You have, you know, a full-time job where you have to go do things, and then you still have to be a Marine. You still have to be in standards. You still have to do all of those things, and they're expected of you even when you're not at drill. So, and it's also a difference of leadership, because like I have Lance Corporals that are CEOs of companies.
Yep.
Like, you know,
we had Lance Corporals that were legit rocket scientists.
Yeah.
That worked for Northrop Grumman. We're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
I had Lance Corporals. Yeah, I have Lance Corporals that are doctors, Lance Corporals that are, you know, guys that work on Wall Street. You know, I remember one day I was at drill. I had just checked into my new unit. I'm a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps. I check in, and I see this Marine drive up in an Audi R8. And I'm like, what? And he gets out of his car, and he's wearing Lance Corporal chevrons. And I'm like, what the fuck do you do? And he was like, I work on Wall Street. I was like, what? And that was the thing, man. And that's the thing. So like, when it's just a very different, you know, some people, you know, I've met both great leaders in both sides, you know, you know, I remember, you know, and the thing is that it's also it's just a culture thing, you know, like active duty Marines are told that reservists are shitbags. But then when you meet an active duty Marine and you say, hey man, how many reservists do you know? They'll say none. So how the fuck do you know they're dirtbags, bro? How do you
just
know
the guys that served within Iraq?
Like how do you know they're shitty Marines, you know? So like, you know, so for me, like it's funny because like unless you know how to tell, like I'll stand in front of you with my ribbons, and I have more ribbons than half of the active duty Marines that I know when I was a Lance Corporal.
Yeah.
And you know, I have more awards, you know, more personal awards than Marines that have been in longer than I have, and as a reservist. And you know, it's, and again, it's not about ribbons or anything like that, but you know, the biggest thing is just a lot of people have a misunderstanding. There's shitbags in both stages.
Oh, dude, 10%, you know, is anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, so I'll tell you a story in regards to that. I had just moved. I was a recruiter, and I had just gotten into the office. I started working for this new office, and this Marine that I was working with didn't like me, and literally the reason why he didn't like me, voiced his opinion of me, was that because I was a reservist, and because I was a reservist, I was a shitty leader. So that's literally what he told me.
Wow.
This wasn't the story I was thinking was coming up.
Yeah, me either.
I was thinking it was a story that came up on your podcast recently about how you had a guy tell you that he had a recruiter, but he didn't know what his name was.
Oh, so
and then you called the guy.
So that story that you're talking about is this guy.
Oh, it's the same guy?
Exact guy, yeah. So I'll tell that story if you haven't listened to the podcast.
I mean, you know, so, some of the stuff too, we gotta let you know. You guys gotta check out Semper Sometimes.
Yeah.
Check out Benny's podcast.
So this guy, he's now a very good friend of mine. Essentially,
you
told
turn
me
enemies into friends very easily. I've noticed.
Dude, it's everyone I've hated is now a best friend of mine. It happens every time.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a Marine thing for sure.
So me and him couldn't stand each other, more so him than me. And he said to me one night that I was a shitty leader because I was a reservist. And we were out at the bar having a beer, the whole office. And it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And we're having a beer. We had just left the office. And I looked over at him and I was like, hey, Ramos. He was like, what's up, man? I was like, where's your boss? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, your boss, the active duty guy, like you, where is he? He was like, he went home. I was like, oh, when did he go home? He went home at like 11. I was like, fuck, that's some good leadership, dog. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, you tell me that I'm a shitty fucking leader, but every single day that you're in this office until 11 or 12 o'clock at night, who's right here next to you? I am. I was like, when you need some shit, who's right there to help you? I am. I was like, but your active duty boss, where's he at? He's at home with his family while you can't be with yours. And he was like, fuck, man, you're right, bro. And then a couple, like 3 weeks later, I got promoted to staff sergeant. And that day, he came up to me, gave me a huge hug, and he was like, hey, man, I apologize for everything I ever fucking said to you. He was like, you're a fucking phenomenal leader, bro, and I would love to work for you. And I was like, got you, bro. But,
wow,
you know,
that's awesome. That's crazy.
The reserve side of things is very different for that, and most people.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is.
You have the jobs, you have the civilian lifestyle, but you also mix it with you're a Marine. You still have those standards that you have to maintain, and then you have one of the things that's very interesting too is as you go up in rank, you are now required to take on more responsibility.
Oh, you have no fucking idea.
And you're doing all of this responsibility, whatever it is.
Dude, you don't understand,
your
man.
frost calls and all that stuff to make sure everybody's... That's off hours.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid for that shit.
Dude, one of my best friends, man, Staff Sergeant Velez, she lives out in California, but she drills here in New Jersey.
Oh, that's a gnarly one with people that do that.
What's up, Raymond? What's up, Raymond? And by the way, sorry, I got to break. Raymond is one of the guys who does one of my intros for the bar, so I love him. He's awesome. Cute little crazy little dog, and he does great work with all kinds of social media. He says, "Have an outstanding show, brother. Outstanding night, brother. I love it." And Jesse says,
Fuck you, buddy. I'm just a reservist. Yeah. Love that,
love
Jesse.
it.
Love Fubajar.
Brittany.
Brittany's over here shaking her head, just like, you understand what I had to do on a fucking aircraft carrier for like 1,200 hours a day?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm kind of worried about Brittany. She doesn't have power yet.
Oh, I'm not worried. Yeah, I am worried. How's that going, Brittany? Are you gonna be all right here in the next 12 hours? You good or what?
I'll be fine. I'm not worried. Not worried at all.
I don't know. Michigan's pretty fucking cold. You're not gonna freeze to death with no power.
I'm fat and I wear sweaters and sweatpants. I think I'll be fine.
You're not fat.
You're not fat. Let's not fucking.
And if it comes to the point, if it comes down to it, I'll just dump, the clothes I have in my laundry basket that are clean, that I haven't folded yet. I'll just dump them on top of my sheets and I'll just crawl underneath. So it's fine.
You're not fat. You're curvy.
I mean,
you live
right across the lake from me, so you can walk across the lake and you can crash on my couch or something.
Well, I picture right now Terrell like walking out of like the Griswold's house going, "Morning, shitter's
full."
He's got the hat.
That's why I love this hat, bro.
Benny, what do you think about? Is there anything that worries you about that makes you worry about the future of the Marine Corps? How about that? Is there anything that you're worried about, culture-wise or anything like that?
Sensitivity.
Because we got everybody thinks we're going to go to war with China, right?
Things. So I'll tell you the two things, and this is me being honest. My wife recently asked me the other day. She was like, if your religious exemption came back approved, would you still stay in the Marine Corps? And I've never in my life, if somebody who just spent 4 years on recruiting duty, I never in my life thought that I would come to the point where I would say, you know what, I'm done with the Marine Corps. I don't want to be in the Marine Corps.
Right.
And I'm kind of at that point because watching watching the narrative be pushed by people.
Sure.
Is like, I'm not a part of that. Like, I don't want to be a part of that, And and it's like, someone read this the other day, and mind you, I'm not talking on behalf of the Marine Corps. This is just Benny's thoughts, my mind. With me being with me still being actively in the Marine Corps, my opinion, and it's only my opinion, is the other day I saw a letter that was written by a retired lieutenant colonel. And I actually messaged him, and he's going to come on the podcast, and I cannot wait to do the episode. He wrote a book, and he's a Vietnam Marine. He was combat meritoriously promoted to sergeant, combat meritoriously promoted to captain while in the Marine Corps.
Whoa.
That's a hard charging motherfucker.
You don't see that at all these days.
Not since World War II. Yeah.
So he served I think 27 or 26 years in the Marine Corps, and he wrote a letter to the commandant of the Marine Corps, and essentially it's a long letter, and everything he said in the letter I completely agree with. And pretty much what he was stating was, we've went from, this is not his words, this is my summary. He pretty much was saying we went from being the 1% to pandering to the 1%. And with everything going on with the changing of the rules and the people that were allowing to join the military and the rules that were changing to fix and to allow, and then his biggest thing as well. His biggest thing as well was, he said, we're not the Army. The America already has an army. They don't need Marines. They don't need a second army. As you guys know, there's been multiple times in history where America has tried to disband the Marine Corps.
Yep,
they're always trying.
So his comment to the commandant of the Marine Corps was just simply, hey man, you're ruining my Marine Corps. That's literally what he said. He said, I don't love them. I had love for the Marine Corps, but what you've created and what you're creating. And he said in the letter, I hope the next commandant of the Marine Corps reverses everything you've done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And again, it's like, listen, I still firmly believe in the Marine Corps.
We have to. It's our thing.
Our Marine Corps. That's why that Vietnam vet right there says my Marine Corps.
So this is what I try to explain to people, and I've tried to, and this is something that I came up on my own. No one ever told me this. It's just a thought that I had. The Marine Corps is not a being. The Marine Corps is a thing.
Yeah.
And the Marine Corps is a set of values. It is a set of attributes. It's a belief. It's not an actual being. So I can never, when people get out of the Marine Corps and they're like, fuck the Marine Corps. I'm like, no, stop that right there.
No. Never said that. Never would.
You never say fuck the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps can't do anything to you. It's not a thing. It's not reality. It's not your own choices. A name.
Yeah.
It's an institution.
Yeah.
The people inside of the Marine Corps, the ones that were there to uphold our customs and our traditions, those are the ones that have failed.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. So the people who are the ones that are making the decisions and making the changes, it's like reality. Again, I'm not against anybody getting their vaccine. I'm not against anybody getting it. You want to get it, go get it. But I said this to one of my superiors, and they were like, shut the fuck up, don't say that. If you go on the Marine Corps website and you go under the COVID-19 tab, it says the amount of deaths that the Marine Corps and the military has had from COVID-19.
How many?
Dude, I don't know. I don't want to misquote it, but it's
I can look it up right now, actually.
It's not a lot. Like it's literally on the Marine Corps website.
And my thing
is Marines.mil, yeah. There's a whole slide that says COVID-19. And my thing is that you're making an entire organization of military get this thing that literally doesn't affect us. We are the most elite, most physically fit branch of military. So realistically, the effects of COVID-19 would be a joke to us, and we would overcome it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't think this.
Let Benny finish.
But now, and this is what I said to my superior that he got pissed off at me. I said, but what are we doing to combat alcoholism and suicide?
Nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
We lose people every single day to suicide, but you're more worried about COVID-19.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, it's what's in favor. Go ahead, T. Sorry.
So
it's just I don't think this is just a Marine Corps problem though either. I think the Navy, the Army, we're all having the same fucking problem. The whole fucking world is gone nutso over this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's this one size fits all solution. Everybody's got to get this experimental drug it's this one size fits all solution, and nobody wants to hear anything other than get that done.
That's and like I said, it is what it is, and that was the thing that annoyed me was the amount of people that I talk to. They constantly ask me that. They're like, "Hey man, just get it, bro. It's we've gotten so many shots already. Just get it."
Okay, so this is one of the slides on that. This is from.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to blow up radio screen.
Oh, can you not?
You're like, well, I mean, because there's five video screens, so yeah, always you're just a tiny portion of the screen right now.
Yeah, why am I not the main portion? I it's all about me. I'm.
In what fucking fantasy world?
Well.
All right, so that's not gonna work. All right. Anyways, I think we should close it out. If he joins back on, that's great.
Oh, we lost radio? Son of a
Yeah, we did lose radio. Benny, God, there's so many things I want to ask you. I want to do a few more shows with you, but we've got to, we got to wrap it up, if you will. Brittany, got a final question for Benny?
I guess I would ask, what is your goal as a job as a leader? Most of the time, what I see with a lot of sailors personally is a lot of them, you mentioned suicide. A lot of them are stating that it's because poor leadership. Poor leadership is more concerned about how they look than how somebody else is going through. I just recently had a sailor. She was my protege back when I was on the ship, and she messaged me saying that she just can't do it because she was put on suicide watch after she had her baby due to, postpartum depression. And the thing that she was told when she came back, they put her on suicide watch because they were worried that she was going to do something and that they would have to, and she quoted that they were more worried about the paperwork that would come with it. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question would be, what do you as a leader, what would you suggest to those who are in the position of leadership? How should they take care of their lower enlisted in combating suicide?
So this is a conversation that I have a lot, and I say that because I remember when I was a Lance Corporal, I had 5 Marines call me on separate occasions, telling me that they were going to commit suicide, and I talked to them, helped them out, and I called my first sergeant and I told him, and every time I called my first sergeant to tell him, he said the same thing to me. He said, "Why the fuck did they call you?" That is exactly what he said. And I wanted to answer him and say, "Why the fuck do you care? Why does it matter who they called?" And that's the thing for me. The thing for me is that, I understand the Marine Corps. I understand the military. I understand that we have echelons. I understand that we have higher leadership. I understand that. I understand that we have reverence, and we definitely should. But I think what comes down to is that, like, one thing that always bothered me is that in the Marine Corps, if I walk by you, and if you're a sergeant major and I walk by you in the morning and I don't say good morning to you, you're going to turn around and blast the shit out of me. But you saw me first. Why couldn't you say good morning to me? Like,
weird.
You don't
right?
know what you don't know what I'm going through.
Isn't that reverse entitlement though? Right? Like,
exactly.
Like you're supposed to fucking. I am to you, so you should fucking worship me. Like,
the same way. Navy officers are terrible about that shit because it's
so like, and again, like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't say good morning. I'm not saying you shouldn't show reverence or whatever. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But What I'm saying is like, why can't you come up to me? I say that because years later, as a staff sergeant, I had a sergeant major who, when he would walk into my office, Sergeant Major Kurt Woodard, fucking loved the guy, one of the best sergeant majors I've ever met in my entire life. He was one of the realest motherfuckers I've ever met. Still talk to him all the time.
Don't we all have? We all have one of those, right?
And he would walk into my office. He would walk into my office and he'd say, "Hey, what's going on, brother?" He'd say, "Good morning, brother." He'd call me on the phone, and I'd be like, "Good morning, Sergeant Major."
4 ranks above you. Yeah.
I'd call him on the. He'd call me. I'd answer the phone. "Yes, Sergeant Major," and he would be like, "Hey, bro, relax. What's going on, brother? What's going on? How's your family? How's this? How's that?" And that's the answer. You know, I'm not saying. I think that there's a problem because people go either way far to the left, where they're like, "Hey, everyone can call me brother." No, that's not okay.
No.
But there needs to be a balance of it. And what I'm saying is that, you know, people, and I've said this because it recently happened. There was a Marine, higher rank, and his, you know, he started off a conversation to the command, and he said, "Hey, my door's always open." And then he says, "I have an open door policy." But in the next sentence, he says, "But you better go to them first." Okay, well, hey, motherfucker, you don't have an open door policy, bitch.
Right?
Like, no. And that's the problem, is that, you know, that's why people feel like they can't say something.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's like, if you guys get to know me more, you know, you will, I'm a complete and utter asshole.
Oh, I know. That's why.
Yes.
Well, most of us are.
That's why he's a Marine.
Yeah. But I love people. I'll always be there for people, and I'll always help people out. But that's just who I am. I'm just real like that. And that's my thing, is that people, even though I'm an asshole, people still know they can call me. I have Marines that show up to my doorstep, you know, like, "Hey, I need somewhere to stay." I'm like, "Hey, bro, I got you." You know, and that's the answer to your question, is that you need to be more relatable, presentable, and just a normal human being. The problem with a lot of Marines, and I say this because it is a lot of Marines, is that we find this sense of entitlement, and we wear this rank on our collar, and then we get out of the Marine Corps and we still believe
that you
should call me Sergeant Major.
Yeah, we hold on to it. Yeah,
you know, and it's like, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm a Sergeant Major." It's like, bro, no one knows what that means anymore, bro. You're just a normal guy now. No one
I've
knows
got a guy that's a colonel in the Marine Corps that I'm friends with, and he's still in, great guy, and he still gets pissed at me if I don't call him by his first name, Dave. Yeah. He chews me a new ass. I'm like, "You're still in the Marine Corps. You're Colonel Bardorf." He's like, "No, motherfucker, I'm Dave." Roger that.
Brittany.
No, and that's the thing. If you want to really, and you're never going to suicide's never going to go away.
No.
Because the reality of it is it happens everywhere, and every place, every job, everywhere, it's there.
Yeah, it's fucking
But
horrible,
the
man.
reality of it is that if you say, and this is all I tell people, if you ever say to me or to anyone, "I'm there for you," then you need to always be there.
Right.
Yes.
You can't be the person who tells me you can't be the person who goes on Facebook and does 22 push-ups, and then I call you right after you.
Thank you for fucking saying that.
You can't be the person that you just posted on Facebook 22 push-ups, and then I call you after you commented on that status, and you don't answer the phone.
Shit.
Yeah,
I hate
like,
you got
shit.
That's the reality of it, you know. And that's why I support veteran businesses. That's why I'm constantly doing different things, talking about different things: suicide, depression, alcoholism, and that's why is because everyone says they care, but what are your actions showing about you caring?
Thank you.
All talk, no show.
And that's it, you know. And if you know, and it's not what you do, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And then my other thing, to continue on with the same question, I had somebody ask me recently, why did I start my podcast? One of the main reasons why I started my podcast was I have episodes about suicide and I have episodes about alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, and this is not just Marine Corps, this is all of the military, instead of doing a PowerPoint about suicide awareness or alcoholism awareness,
right?
You should have an open discussion
Yes.
where people who feel free about talking about it talk about it. So
No,
I have people.
there was
I have people on my episodes who talk about while they were in the military, almost committing suicide or alcoholism, and those episodes, I've had dozens of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, man, thank you so much for that episode because I really related to that person and it helped me out so much." And if those were the conversations, and again, Sergeant Major Kurt Woodard, he literally
Can't wait to talk
sat,
to him.
bro. Dude, he literally sat in front of a room of Marines and talked about, before he retired, he sat in front of a room of Marines and talked about, we had just lost a Marine from suicide.
Yeah.
And he sat there and said, listen, don't you ever be afraid to get help, because I've gotten help for alcoholism. I've gotten help for all of these different things, and I'm retiring from the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
He's like, do not be afraid to get help, because I'm here to tell you, you could still retire and you could still stay in the Marine Corps. And he was, to this day, one of the realest people I ever had the opportunity of meeting. And that's what it is, man. Just be real and just talk to people about your circumstances, because the problem is people, that's when when people commit suicide, I don't know the numbers, but they feel like they're in a position to where they're alone and no one's ever been where they are, and they have no one to talk to.
Which is really weird, right? Because we've all, not all, but most of us have been there, right? Like,
but that's the thing, though, is that not many people will openly talk about having been there.
Because we don't like to ask for help.
What I mean?
We don't ask for help.
You don't have a lot of Marines running around saying, "Hey, bro, I had a Glock 19 to my face the other day."
Yeah.
Like, no one's saying that, you know. But when you sit down and you actually have that conversation, you know, like another episode I had with Chad Robichaux. He's a he's a Force Recon Marine.
Yeah, I know.
He literally sat on I talked to me about how he almost committed suicide, had a gun to his head in his closet, and was going to pull the trigger and decided not to. Andrew D. Cure, he was on an episode with me, and he talked about when he was in the Air Force, how he had a gun to his head, almost pulled the trigger. So that's the reality of it. If you want to combat suicide, you need to be open-minded. You need to be a real person and allow people to come to you. And then the other thing is that when the people come to you, you can't tell other people they came to you unless it is suicide. Unless suicide, you got to tell your command. But what I'm saying is, it cannot become the source of gossip, because then no one will ever come to you again.
Yep.
Yeah, if you feel like shit by going to your command or something like that. Like, when I was at Wounded Warrior Battalion, that was
if you're active duty and you complain to your command about PTSD or things, you can lose your clearance, and that's why a lot of Marines don't do it on active duty.
So I have to disagree with that, because when I was in the Navy, I had to go to counseling because, granted, my ex-husband was a piece of shit. But I mean, he raised his hand at me one time. He learned very quick I was not the one to fuck with. But with the
I've seen one of your old pictures this week on your Facebook.
She's a beast. She's a beast.
Yeah, like,
but with the emotional and mental abuse that I was put through, it took a real big toll on me. And so, me personally, having been in the Navy, I was at that point where I didn't know what else to do. And there was a couple other things that also played its role into causing me to have a lot of mental moment where I just snapped one day. And I remember going to my first class, E6. I remember going to him. I said, "Hey, ABF1, I'm not good." And he sat me down. We sat in the office. We talked for an hour, and he's like, "Let's get you into counseling." And he's like, "This is between you, me, and Chief. We're the only people that know about this." Nice. And I remember when I went to the counseling, the officer I was speaking to, he kind of was like, "Well, if we really go into detail, blah, 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 you may lose your clearance," because I did have clearance to go like in the nuclear spaces. Yeah. And I said, then why am I even here then? Because if I'm coming to you for assistance and trying to prevent, something bad happening to not only myself, but somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where I also think, like,
you're
leadership.
like, oh well, we're gonna take this away from you.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a repercussion for asking for help.
Well, there is all the time.
It felt like that, and so it got to the point where my Devo had to go talk to them and say, look, she needs help. We can't take away something from her because she needs help.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked out. So, and I mean, granted, we only went to 2 counseling sessions because he completely was not helpful at all. But it was still having the leadership I had, my first class, to go and talk to him about what was going on with me, and telling him, what was going on. And at days he could see it on my face if I was not good. He's like, I want you to go home. And he's like, I want you to go home, and I'm going to call you in about an hour. And people would come up and check up on me. I think it's that kind of leadership that where you can relate to somebody and be on that level and not hold yourself to a position where you're like, well, I don't know if I say something, this is going to happen. You're going to lose your clearance. Nobody should have to fear that. And that's the sad thing, is that a lot of people fear that they're going to lose everything because they have a moment where they need help.
Oh, I almost did. I almost lost everything when I snapped at Wounded Warrior Battalion. And if it wasn't for my old commanding officer, or my INI actually, becoming the CO of Wounded Warrior Battalion, I would have been kicked out of the Marine Corps. Because Wounded Warrior Battalion at the time when I was there was a shit show. It was a parade, it was a parade ground, basically. Like, they'd always bring in these freaking guests and people, and look at the Wounded Warriors, and yay, don't they look so pretty? And it made people feel good because they were doing stuff for the wounded vets, which was funny because there was only 5 of us there that were actually combat wounded. The rest were, my vagina hurts because my drill instructor yelled at me.
No.
I'm being serious, though. At the time, the Marine Corps didn't know, and I don't know if it's that way still, but the Marine Corps at the time didn't know what to do with a lot of people that were in their command, and they're like, you know what, screw it, send them to Wounded Warrior Battalion, and they'd pass them off. And I snapped one day because my roommate actually kept playing Call of Duty, and I'm like, dude, can you just not play Call of Duty when I'm in the room? Like, I'm not here often, just please stop playing. He kept playing it. I snapped, and I beat him with his cane, and I threw him through a fire exit, and everyone came out and was like, holy shit, he finally fucking snapped. Like, they were waiting for it to freaking happen. And they kept trying to press charges for assault against me, and they were trying, my platoon commander just so happened to be a JAG, and just so happened to love pressing charges against Marines with Purple Hearts. And and so finally it was actually the CO of Wounded Warrior Battalion, Colonel Martin, that went up to him and goes, oh, we're pressing charges. And Colonel Martin's like, no, we're not. Drop the paperwork. We're just going to send him back to his parent command. And he's like, no, we're pressing charges. And finally the colonel was like, so, Captain, pretty sure you're a captain in the United States Marine Corps, and you like your job, right? And he was like, well, yes, sir. And he goes, I'm pretty sure I'm a lieutenant colonel in the United States Marine Corps, and I have a lot to say over your job. So send him back to his command and leave him the hell alone.
Yep.
I was like, sweet. And that was it. I eventually left the Marine Corps a few months later. But if you try to get help, there's always a repercussion, and that sucks.
There's that and there's that. But hey, so to Benny, final thoughts. We gotta get out of here. We gotta close the show out. So Benny, final thoughts, man. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. And hopefully,
thank you for having
on the
me.
bar. Man, you're great, dude. You're hilarious. I love you, man. Your podcast is great. You've been great on the show. I would love to go back and forth with you, but you were first on. You're our special guest, so you have to go with final thoughts first. So.
That's it, man. And thank you so much for having me. I love the conversation. I love the. It's great to be a part of something and be able to talk to people that are like-minded, and that's why I love the pod. I love doing the podcast. I love being a part of this community, because 9 times out of 10, I sit home in my house with my family and my kids. We don't go out, we don't do anything. But now, this right here, I feel like I just was sitting at the bar, hanging out with 4 friends, just bullshit.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the point of the show.
Yes, that's the bar, man. That's the bar.
Yeah, so I thank you so much for the invite. Thanks for having me. Love to definitely come back and do more of these. And thanks again. And
please
appreciate
come
it.
back.
Hey, make
I
sure
will.
also that you check your DMs, Benny, on your Instagram page.
Got
'Cause
you.
I wrote you as well.
Okay.
Sliding into them already.
All right. I will look.
I want to
thank
give the
you so
next
much.
one to Brittany, who, God, I feel like she feels left out a little bit, and she's not gonna be further on. But I love this girl. She's so awesome. I'm so glad she's back in my show. And her name rhymes with Stiffmeister, but because we know each other from back in the day. But what do you got for us, Brittany?
Again, piggybacking off of the entire conversation, if you need help, do not be afraid to get it at all. I mean, I know it's extremely hard to ask for it. I know it was hard for me to ask for it. I know it was hard when I asked for help with my alcoholism. But I see it, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not. Definitely, if you feel like you're going down that hole, definitely get somebody to help you put up a ladder and get you out of it.
Absolutely. Radio, you fucking weirdo who irons his hair with a fucking.
You gotta
An
have a
actual
blow dryer.
iron.
Yeah, I did it once with an actual iron and a couple other things.
Oh, Jesus.
Final thoughts. Hurry up.
Final thoughts. Okay, so I did an interview with Julie for my show. It's fantastic. Can't wait to post that. So I'll just say, Julie, you're mine. Although she's really going to put me in my place, probably, and that's a scary thought.
Good for her.
So, yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Lick it before you stick it. Be safe. Have a good weekend. And
all right. Never.
Shit, we lost radio
He
completely
literally
there.
just went hardcore on that.
You
All
just
right,
went
so
hardcore radio out.
still mine. Remember, never take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. All right, like just there's all kinds of resources out there. Battle the stress. Please don't do that. Just don't eat a bullet just because you can't find it. Balance stress is out there. Love you all. Thank you all for tuning in the show. We are out.